listening to the MycoGeeky Podcast, a podcast that inspires people to grow mushrooms at home to improve their mental, emotional, and physical health. Most people call him geeky, and he is a passionate mushroom cultivator, advocate, and educator. Every week, he sits down with fellow cultivators, mushroom educators, scientists, and therapists to discuss the various ways people can approach mushroom cultivation and how mushrooms can be used to improve their lives.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the MycoGeeky Podcast, the podcast that goes deep so you can level up your at-home mushroom cultivation game. I'm your host, MycoGeeky. We got a great show tonight. I don't know if you guys ever see that show, Vikings. You guys watch that show? I started running out of stuff to watch on Netflix, and been watching this old show, Vikings. It's interesting. Lot of old Shakespearean drama. Kind of reminds me of what's going on in the mycology community right now. Let's just say it's never a dull moment here. Never a dull moment. A lot of betrayal, a lot of secrets, a lot of shaking in their boots, a lot of death threats, a lot of interesting things going on in a community that's supposed to be about growing mushrooms that bring forth ego death, enlightenment, connecting people deeper with nature. It's really fascinating how, despite all those amazing things that we know mushrooms do for us, there's still a lot of this other stuff going on. Times are tough. The influx of people coming into this community right now, I would consider all the new people coming in still like early adopters, right? And some of them are just trying to seize an opportunity, trying to make some stuff happen for themselves. And so I talk to a lot of people every day, and I'm definitely hearing that times are tough. People having to work a little bit harder than they used to for their gruel, whatever the saying is. So anyway, all I want to say to everybody out there is you got a right to grow mushrooms. You got a right to want to be happy and healthy and heal and pay your rent and all those good things. Everybody on earth has that right. Some of us are more fortunate than others. For however good you got it, there's always somebody that's got it better than you. And for however bad you got it, there's always somebody who's got it worse than you. So don't forget those things. And at the end of the day, the only thing I'm responsible for is myself. And that logic follows through with all the rest of us, right? We got to just worry about ourselves. So with that said, this week I had a lot of people talking to me about contamination. For some reason this week, the topic of contamination, and like just dirty, nasty shit gets in your grow and you're just trying to get rid of it. So finally, for whatever reason, this week felt like the right reason to talk about it. So that's what we're doing. I'm bringing in my buddy, Ed. He does have a PhD in mycology. He does know a little something about contamination at a level I don't. So we're going to hopefully banter back and forth here for a while and figure a few things out. I hope that by the end of the episode that everybody feels like they just got a little bit better understanding of fungal, bacterial, viral, all sorts of contaminants that sour our experience in this cultivation hobby, business, whatever it is for you guys. So anyway, the usual shout out to all the people who support me. I love you guys. I really appreciate that I get a chance to bring cool people on and talk to them, like tonight, like Ed Grand. I'm having a blast. It's just getting started, guys. We're going to meet so many cool people in the coming years. Cannot wait. Quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. If you guys want to give it a go look-see, just type in the word Patreon, the word MycoGeeky, and you can go check out, some pretty cheap ways to support what I'm doing here every Monday night. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't got the money, it's cool. I know. I've been there. I've pawned every last thing I had just to pay rent before. I get it. I understand. If that's you, don't feel like you got to give me a dime. I'll be okay. Anyway. All right. So contamination, right? I don't know about you guys, but when I first started growing, I definitely had contamination. I think I spent too much time trying to perfect it. I wanted to just get everything right out of the gate. I read this, I watched that, and taking in too many like opposing points of view, every little different angle to do this and angle to do that, rather than like clarifying and understanding, it really was a bit confusing. So I maybe like worried about stuff I didn't need to worry about. I didn't pay attention to things I should have. It was not going good for me for a while. And then I found somebody online who, despite all the other people that are supposed to be there to help out, I wasn't getting help from those people. One random person in one post that I had said, "Hey, just DM me. I can help you out." And that person gave me all sorts of solid advice. And it was very important for me. It was very significant. That person set me on the right track, and the rest is history. So tonight, what I hope is that for people that have been just like ready to throw in the towel because of contamination, or maybe you started out and it was going real well for you, and then all of a sudden you just get hit by, like the freaking black plague, right? And you're like, how do I get rid of this? I got COVID-19 in my grow. What do I do? And it just isn't working. I think tonight we're going to have a very detailed, interesting conversation, probably give you guys some new thoughts, some new tips, new tricks, and hopefully for sure a deeper understanding of some of the more major fungal contaminants, bacterial contaminants, even some viral contaminants, their vectors, and things that you can do in your process to not have to hang out with them too much. So, all right, guys, without further ado, let's pull him on, the one and only Dr. Ed Grand, PhD.
Mm.
What's up, dude?
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? My
Ed,
hair
they're not,
okay?
your hair looks like you just woke up, but you did, so that's okay.
No.
It's all good.
I put my pants on. I remember to do that. I actually forgot. Yeah.
I mean, no one would
Nice.
know the difference, but I'm glad you did. No, your Spore Swaps thing is blocking your fly now. I can't even see it there.
That's like I go change it.
It's okay.
Over.
All right. So, I mean, we've dabbled. We've talked about this in the past a little bit here and there. We've never devoted a whole show to it. So
I don't think we have. I was trying to remember back at the beginning, one of those early 4 or 5 hour episodes. I think we got kind of into it
a little bit. Yeah.
It's like a support group. We're here to support you.
Yes.
So you can just think of me as like the call center on the other side of the world.
Have you rebooted your computer?
Yes.
Have you tried rebooting it?
Could you send me your passwords and let me bank
What is your serial number? Sir, I need your serial number. I need the date of purchase. I need 90 things that you don't have so I don't have to provide you customer service. Yes, exactly.
Oh gosh.
All right. So I made a little slideshow. It's cute. It's pretty. But let's first just generally kind of talk about this idea. I think one thing I'd like to talk about is the idea that when we say the word contamination, we are putting a bias, we are putting a lens on this, because out in nature, all these organisms coexist all the time. They find their groove, they find their space, they find a way, right? And so it's only in the lab that we go, nope, 𝐥𝐤𝐬𝐵 cubensis, this is what I want. This is the organism I love.
The other one.
Everything else, bad. Get rid of it. Gone. So just my first thought is, let's understand that everything we learn about the fungus that we grow might also help us understand a few things about some of the fungal contaminants. And the sad truth is, and we can get into this in more detail, the sad truth is everything that helps, a cube grow or an oyster mushroom grow probably also helps all that other stuff grow too.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, we have to do mechanical, procedural, physical, chemical things sometimes to play this little game that we're playing with growing one fungus and not the rest. So
yeah, that's amazing.
Right?
that's two things. I didn't even really think about it that way. Yeah, we're kind of creating this perfect environment for everything,
Right.
and this one thing which is quite rare in nature. And I think a lot of people get sort of a little bit thrown off by that because they're like, well, mushrooms grow out in my backyard. Like, why can't I grow them in this plastic tub in my my mono tub? And it kind of throws them for a loop at the beginning. Like, mushrooms grow everywhere. Like, I can go outside, and why don't they just grow so easily? It's like, yeah, there's a lot of competition out there. Hundreds of things growing in your backyard. The ones, and we're pretty selective too, right? You see like an oyster mushroom growing off that old dead tree in your backyard, but you don't think of the other 100 things that grow when you're not looking, or the bacteria that
you just don't even see it. Yeah, like you don't even see the bacteria. You don't see some of the rust or things that are not all the microcosmos of it all.
We forgot to add insects into our little presentation.
We did. Oh, well, so I did a little bit with like fruit flies and fungal gnats as vectors for some of these, but yeah, we definitely 100% we'll get into that.
I got experience with mites. I live in the tropics, so like I've got some like even invertebrates, like invertebrates. I've got like geckos and frogs and things like that.
So wait, you just got geckos hanging out on your fruit,
dude?
I've got toadstools.
I've got a gecko sitting outside the door of my tent. It's like he's become my mascot, and I don't know what he's eating because I don't have any gnats for him to eat. Like the one time I thought like I wish he had like a gnat or a fruit fly to eat or something, but I don't. He's just sitting there like starving to death. I don't know. I don't think he can eat like Pseudomonas bacteria, but I've got lots of those.
He could lick it. He could just like lick at it a little bit.
A lollipop.
Yeah, just licking a little Pseudomonas on the tongue there.
If I could get a photo of that, that would be awesome.
It'd be adorable. Everybody wants to see a gecko lick their Pseudomonas off their shitty flesh.
Look. That could be some ecological evolutionary thing. Like, wow, the real purpose of psilocybin is to get vertebrate lizards high.
Right. Yeah.
Then the UFO people come in.
It's gotta be that.
Oh, it's the fucking reptilian complex. What do they call that? Your lizard brain. It's your sub-amygdala
activating
pineal gland.
Yeah. Yes.
The Egyptians had something like that.
Well, but you haven't read the document that I just received yet.
It's I know. I do.
The secret document. There's always a guy that's got a document you need to read, or a video you got to watch. And then the problem is, every once in a while you go, let's just see what this is. And you go, and it's like some old disheveled dude on what looks like not even like a current phone. It's like a camcorder from 1984 or something making this video. And I'm like, oh my God, dude.
I saw one of those yesterday. Like, we were just talking about the Philippines. I'm like, I know their internet connection is not probably that great, but it literally had like that fuzz, like that white noise in the background. I'm like, I didn't even know digital things do that. Look, I thought that was like a fucking VHS tape thing. Like,
somebody's got to still be using those, I guess. Who knows?
Probably. He's probably on a beta. He's probably like, probably making all that, videos that we watch.
Exactly.
Somewhere in the Philippines in a dark, dark $10 a night studio in a hotel at the end of the road.
All right. My buddy MycoGeeky. He's quality dude. Definitely not scum, but cute name. He says, bacteria is the one I struggle with the most. Don't you worry. We will definitely be talking about some bacteria. I think that is particularly one where it's easy to overlook some little things you're doing in your techniques that can continue to cause problems with that. So we will get into that. Don't you worry. I'm trying to keep an eye on topics people bring up here. But so let's do this. Let's
write them down.
And I see you doing it. And I know you already got like 15 Post-it notes since we started.
I do.
I know you.
No, I moved on to an A4 sheet of paper.
At least you're stepping back enough to realize maybe just a bigger pad of paper is a good idea.
Mhm.
A legal pad, that also works. You can get a lot of Post-it note information on a legal pad.
Got two sides.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up this little slideshow, courtesy of Canva, and all the lovely designers that post stuff up on there. We got some pretty pictures. All right, so getting to the bottom of Contam with Ed Gran. Here we go. All right, so let's start with the old fungal contaminants. I canvassed a few bits of literature, some stuff you sent me, some stuff I found, and then just going off of anecdotal information that I've sort of heard, over the years. Tried to grab the stuff somewhat in order of occurrence. If you guys out there think I got the order wrong, it's okay. I did my best. Nobody's going to get quizzed on this. I'm not making any authoritative theoretical statement about this. I'm just bear with us. So, all right. As you guys might have imagined, let's start out with everybody's favorite. Your friend and mine, trichoderma. You want to call it trichoderma? You want to call it, I like calling it trick. It sounds more appropriate than trike, but I am pretty sure it is trichoderma. At least most of the scientists that I listen to talk about it say trichoderma, but I'm gonna still call it trick. If trick hits, it's for me, it's trick.
Well, Public Enemy, we're talking about rap music a bit.
Yes.
I would like a reference to rap there.
This was going to be their first album.
These dirty tricks.
They were going to start with a series on all the songs was going to be a different species of trichoderma.
And that's probably the undiscovered tracks. It's on like a boom
tracks.
Recorded on a boombox, like Chuck D and Flavor were like all smoking and like Flavor was like, yeah.
Yes. Now, what's funny is realistically, the Wu-Tang Clan might actually have a series of unreleased tracks that feature fungal contaminants. I wouldn't be surprised, but probably not Public Enemy. I don't know. All right, so
that sounds more like some ODB style stuff.
Yes, for sure. They got dirty, so they had to talk about the contaminants for sure.
Dude, we're like writing somebody's new rap career here, like a new fungal rapper. What about the jazz? He's out there listening. He's probably writing shit
jazz
like,
fusion, fungal rap. It's a whole new genre. Yes. All right, man. So this is what in reading about 3 or 4 different things. These are some of the bullet points that I wanted to hit on. But feel free to illuminate much further. I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is how pervasive and common trichoderma as a genus is in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's everywhere.
Real. It's probably every breath you take. It's probably got 50 trick spores in it.
Every breath you take.
Yeah, no, that's
every move you make.
Fucking whole album, man. There you go.
Yes.
Collaboration with Sting, man. Jesus, dude, we're creating a superstar's career here.
It's about to happen. Yes. Now, so I remember one thing that you told me was if it's green, it has completely sporulated. And why on earth would you open your tub? Right? It's not hard to distribute and disperse those spores. So I never did, and I have never had an outbreak. Back in the day, I'd get an occasional tub. I'd immediately take it outside as far back as I could. No problems.
Yeah, I haven't for probably 6 months at least. I had one spot, and it was on, I think it was a pan tub that I was running, but I've been quite blessed, which makes me, I've been trying to think back like 2 or 3 years ago when I was having a lot of problems. And, it's kind of easy to forget like what your procedure was 2 years ago because we changed tubs, bags, mono tubs. And it's like, what the hell was my problem like 2 years ago? And I hate to say it, but it came down to, I think, my location. I was in a different location and that place was really like quite dirty. But then there's other things because I wasn't really fully boiling my sub then. I think that's what initially like kind of pushed me to the whole sterilized sub, like boiled sub. because I was just doing the kind of pasteurization bucket tech. I was doing it in my pot because I had limited space, but I think that's what pushed me towards the boiling more of the sub rather than just doing like a bucket tech. And I haven't had any problem with Trick for a long. Every time you say these words, it's like the boogeyman. What was that show? You say is the Candy Man. You say his name 3 times.
Trichoderma.
Yeah.
Where are the E's there? Oh shit. Yeah.
Maybe that we got to pronounce it differently. Trichoderma. Tricky.
That's the secret. Yes. That's when the outbreaks come, is when you pronounce it wrong. Yes.
The only thing about calling it Trick is it doesn't go with it's tricky.
Wow.
The meme, it doesn't work with that. That's the problem.
That's how we should be making all our taxonomical decisions. Yes. How they line up, how they correlate with memes. That's a whole new thing for the ICBN to figure out.
I know we
gotta get these decisions to jive with some. Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be item 16.2.6-9, vernacular and colloquial use of Latin.
Yes.
Of Latin names and common.
And then the order of the hierarchy of slang terms as it relates to
exactly. Number of users.
All right, so I think this is a great question. Somebody has a question, and let's just pull it up. Brett Schneider says, how do I differentiate Trichoderma species from Aspergillus? First off, another cool thing you can use your microscope for. Theoretically, you could actually figure it out. Secondly, I would say, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. Why do you need to figure it out? What will you gain from that? Now, in reading the literature, I think there was several studies that basically wanted to find out the difference, right? So in these commercial grows, they're studying Agaricus bisporus grows all the time. And they said that the preponderance of Aspergillus or Penicillium is way lower. I don't know if they use the word rare, but they said, predominantly, if it turns green, it's probably Trichoderma. But I would mostly say, but why do you need to know what it is? It is a fun thing to do. And if it's Aspergillus, it looks really cool under the microscope. It's a cool thing to look at.
It is. And it's very distinctive.
Very distinctive.
Before I forget, one of the things I've noticed, Aspergillus is quite rare on, I think, substrate, but on plates, it's more common.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, and it grows different. Like on plates, it's usually a concentric. There are some like macromorphological things, the colors, like Aspergillus has many different colors. Like the toxic one, Aspergillus flavus. Flavus means like yellow in Latin.
Yeah, that's yellow, right? So, that's easy to differentiate, but.
And there's like thousands of species and whatever chemotypes of Aspergillus, but I think it's quite rare, actually, especially probably in like an agaricus farm. Maybe for us, people get really creative. Like there's like things like slime molds. Like who's had a slime mold contaminant? I didn't have one of those till like 3 months ago.
I'm jealous, man, because I like slime molds. So I'm like, every time I see them, I'm like, you fucking asshole. Why did you get that? Can I
This thing climbed out of a fucking tub onto the wall of the Martha. And I was like, that is cool as shit, man. That is really, really cool.
Yes.
I couldn't have grown it if I tried. Like I did try to grow there's one of them, what is it called? Plasma. It's one like they eat the oats. When they do that like Japanese Subway and they're like, look at this.
Oh, yeah, that one.
That yellow one, cephalosporum or something. Physerum, PHYS. Yeah, it's the one they're always talking about. Look at how intelligent it is. And
the scariest. Of course, the media grabs onto the scariest slime mold. It doesn't haunt your dreams. They're not going to run with it.
Which is technically not a fungus at all, but
right. Yes. So some of the few things that I have experienced is one thing as a new grower I would encourage you to do is if you ever do get Trichoderma, especially if it's in a tub, separate it from the rest of your grow, but let it go through a cycle because what I would want you to see is to start to learn how to differentiate the like pasty, powdery white growth. And it can sometimes do a pretty good job initially when it first starts showing up on this cake surface. If you're really paying attention, you can see it way before it turns green.
Mm-hmm.
So this, and I talk to people about this a lot. Like sometimes it's cool to just let it do its thing, especially if it's on a petri dish. Like it's not gonna hurt anybody, right? Just keep the parafilm on there. Keep your shrink wrap, whatever you do to grafting tape. Just leave it and just watch it do its thing. You're gonna learn something by seeing that contaminant go through a growth cycle of some sorts.
So many movie quotes. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your head in. Pink Floyd. I'm gonna cut you into little pieces. All these movies.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, you're right. You want to become familiar with it because now, which is part of the reason why I probably haven't had trouble with it recently, because when I recognize it, I immediately segregate it. And like as soon as it starts to go green, it's just like, okay, now I know it's trichoderma. But it has distinct, like you were saying, I think that's kind of, it's got like almost like a matte finish rather. Like it doesn't look very shiny. Mycelium, like cube mycelium or whatever, it looks pretty kind of like shiny and pretty. And then when you see this sort of matte white color and it's growing too fast, and normally it kind of like is growing too thick or something. I don't know how it is. But he grows too aggressively.
Yeah.
And then it starts to kind of cover the surface, and it usually you'll see actual concentric rings as it grows out. Whereas like if you've got your evenly dispersed spawn inside the sub, you won't see, like there's not going to be a spot in the middle of your tub that's like, oh, look, it's a circular ring growing out. Like you'll see that and you'll recognize like, oh, that's not normal. And then it'll turn green.
Yes. And again, right, what you just said, if the minute you see something suspect and you've never seen it before and the first thing you do is just toss it, you have definitely thrown out a learning opportunity. You get a chance to watch it do its thing, assuming you can keep it segregated from the rest of your grow and you can see into the tub without, opening it 90 times a day. No harm, no foul. Even if the weather's decent, take it outside and just let it do its thing outside. And you can watch and learn. Being able to identify that stuff early saves you. If it hasn't sporulated, then you can open the tub. It's not going to toss a bunch of spores around if it hasn't sporulated yet. So I think
or you can keep it and give it to your friend down the street growing weed.
There you go. And he'll love you for it. Yes.
But look, bro, I got this trichoderma, man. I got a whole mono tub of it. You want this this trick infected soil?
They'll pay you for it, maybe. There you go. Hey, myco hustlers, here you go. The ones who are not succeeding at growing mushrooms. Maybe it means you're destined to be a trichoderma farmer. Who knows?
Could be.
Could be.
Yeah, extra. There's some kind of enzyme they get from it, isn't it? That they actually use industrially. A lot of these things cannabis. They use. Oh yeah, the trichoderma, they grow it. There's some enzyme they extract for some other kind of industrial process. I can't remember. A lot of these things are used heavily in industry, aspergillus. And, some of them are toxic. Penicillium's obviously where we get penicillin from. But yeah, some of these things are heavily utilized because they grow fast and they grow well. And they figured out how to get something from them. Some polysaccharide.
They've just figured out how to enslave the bacteria, the fungus. Yes, they're just using them for their capital gain.
E. coli, man, that's been the most oppressed bacteria.
Can you imagine that? Yeah, man. Can you imagine if just a bunch of bacteria hanging out at a get together and they're just like, "Oh, here he is, E. coli over there. God, I feel bad for him. He works so hard. He doesn't get anything for it."
I know, They just shit him out. They just shit him out and flush him down the toilet.
That's
Nobody
not
really
fair.
cares.
No one-
Last time they injected me with they transfected me. You want to know what they did? It'd be like some World War II experiment shit.
They
Like,
cut
you know
off
what they did?
They cut off my flagella.
They heat shocked me and then they electrocuted me.
Yes.
Made me sit in calcium chloride and then electrocuted me.
Just getting really accurate with all this.
I know
stuff.
this is getting really. Oh, I used to work in a lab, dude. This guy. So we bitch about fungi. This dude did E. coli stuff every day, and for like 2 years, it was the daily topic of lunch. It was like we're sitting at Wendy's. Like I worked in a hospital next to, you know how the hospital at U of M is connected to the research buildings. And there was a Wendy's there that sold like triple cheeseburgers. So of course we had to go over to the hospital to eat our Wendy's fucking triple cheeseburgers and what do they call flurry shake things?
Frosties, Ed. Come on, dude.
I know.
How long have you been in Thailand? Clearly,
I'm sorry. We don't have Wendy's, man. We only got McDonald's and KFC and Taco Bell.
They wouldn't let Dave's daughter over there. Come on, that's not nice.
I know they don't like Canadians.
Wow.
But yeah, we would go over there, and every day he would be like, "Oh man, like I tried transfecting my E. coli." Dude, this guy is like, "Did you wash your hands at least, motherfucker? You've got like E. coli shit, like the thing that
guaranteed
smell like shit is like the stuff all over your hands. Like, did you at least wash your hands, you dirty, dirty person? Like, don't touch me. Don't fucking touch my fries, dude." God knows what you've been doing to those plasmids, and now you're trying to inject them into E. coli or transfect them, they call it.
I mean, right?
Stay away from my fries.
Everybody who does this, who has Petri dishes, I mean, just take one. If you haven't done this yet, just take one, put your hand on it, touch it, use your fingers, your thumb, and just watch and learn, and just see how nasty our hands are. Even after you wash your hands, they're still a little dirty.
That's funny because we used to do something with the students to have them do exactly that. And you actually, when you wash your hands, you kind of, you work in a hospital, right? When you wash your hands, you actually sort of roughen up the surface and you create all those bits and bobs that aren't really getting washed off. They're just sort of getting loosened, and then your hands dry. And all that shit
all right off,
like
fluffs right off. Yeah,
it's like I think you were saying last week about people that have carpet, like maybe don't vacuum your carpet before you start doing. Because all that shit goes up in the air, and your Roomba or whatever those electronic robot vacuum things, like turn that shit off like the day in the morning you're gonna do work.
Right.
Like don't let that shit be picking around in the corners and yeah, same idea. And those, so you get like way higher counts. Here's the interesting thing though, you always get different things like before and after. So your hands were dirty with like bacteria before you washed your hands, and afterwards it's fungus.
Right. Once you scrape off the layer of bacteria, underneath it is the fungus it was feeding on. Yes. Exactly.
All that slime layer, that polysaccharide from the bacteria with your soap. Now you've got fungal spores like hidden in the grooves of your fingerprints. And I don't want anybody to ever touch me ever again.
But everything's dirty. I mean, this is what kind of cracks me up about germaphobes. It's like everything's dirty. Everything. The phone, the toilet seat. I mean, you've seen the videos where they flush the toilet with the lighting just right so they can see how it just blows shitty ass toilet water up everywhere. I mean, right? Come on.
Yeah.
We're all filthy.
The hotels with those the black, I don't know if it picks up that, but like black lights and stuff. You're like, oh my.
Oh God.
Like I'm never touching that remote control. You're like thinking maybe I should have brought my alcohol with me to the kids everywhere, like 7-Eleven. Like I'm like touching anything, money. Oh my God, money. Every time I touch money now, I'm like, don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Money's gross. It's been around for right. Do you ever get an old bill and you're just like, how many like G strings has this been in? How many dirty old wallets? How many boobs has it been placed in? Like,
to
I mean,
scrape some residue off it. Like,
oh my
that's like some
gosh.
white powder, I think there.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh my
That's
God.
why you use the clean, fresh $100 bills for that shit. Because
Oh, everybody knows that ad. No, I'm kidding.
Or use a dirty $1 bill.
You got to go to the bank the night before and get some brand new money. Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. All right. So growing temps of trichoderma, guys, 68 to 82. Of course, we're not serious, guys, in case anybody can't figure that out. So growing temps 68 to 82. I want to tell a little story. Ed does not have this, or kind of doesn't have this luxury so much because it's so hot there.
Dude, it's 80, 95 now. Right now, it's like 8 in the morning, and it's fucking 95.
And the sun just peeked up over the horizon.
Oh yeah,
wow.
It's not even, the sun's not even up above the house next
Yikes.
door. It's like holy shit.
Yikes.
It'll be like 110 today.
Wow.
Good. Air conditioners
yes.
work well here.
For everybody else that isn't in tropical Thailand or, I don't know, wherever it's hot. Most basements, if you have a basement, my basement is routinely about 67 to 70 degrees all the time. And people always ask me, I'm growing in my basement, temperature's about 68. I got the heater. What should I heat it at? And they're a new grower. And I always just say, don't. Why are you going to turn the heater on? It will grow. The cubes will grow. They'll grow down to, I don't know. I've grown them when it was 64 in the dead of winter. No problem. So the warmer it gets, and this is a trend we're going to start noticing when we go through some of these other contaminants. And if you start reading some of these papers about them, there's almost always, there's a few exceptions, they'll be noted. But usually the closer you get into the 80s and 90s, all these contams go, let's go, man. Yeah, this is great. If you can be under 74, you are definitely using temperature as a way to mitigate or reduce the likelihood of contam. Because, and Ed taught me this, there's always a battle. Like, you can have an amazing flush, never see contam, never see any evidence of it. It doesn't mean there wasn't ever anything in there. It just means that the fungus won and you never had to deal with it. You can see that in LC, where in the beginning it beats it out, and maybe one tiny little bacteria is just hanging out somewhere, but it didn't get on your plate. And then 3 weeks later, your LC is dirty and you don't realize it because you're not a high quality vendor. You're not testing your LC routinely. You're not testing it, pulling batches, and then, waiting to see if that batch is good or not. And you send out a bunch of dirty LC. So my point is, you can use temperature to improve your odds. And this other idea of there might be latent things in your sub, in your grain, but frequently your fungus gonna win. This is why healthy, vigorous genetics is never a bad situation to have.
Yeah, and like it goes back to spawn. I had some spawn I was going to send off to my friend like 3 weeks ago, and I didn't get around to it. I thought it was too old, and yeah, it was contaminated. When I let it sit there for another 2 weeks, it got a brown spot, and another one got like a bluish green spot, and I'm like, wow, it's really good I didn't send that out.
Yeah,
I mean, it would have been fine for me, but I don't want to give my friend like dirty spawn.
Right.
Like you said, it was hiding. It was like one grain in the corner of one bag. But when you mix that and do the break and shake, or if it's liquid culture, and like you just mix it everywhere. And so people get that kind of thing, especially with bacteria, where they're like, oh, it stalled out. I don't know why it stalled.
Right.
It's pretty easy to figure out after a while. It's because you just took that one grain of bad bacterial grain and you just spread it everywhere.
I mean, if you really think about it, right, even if it was in just one single grain, by shaking it up, you're just having it meet, and the R naught for that now goes way up, because in your shaking process, it's just touching everything. Yes, 100%. That's why that last break and shake, if it really is a test. It will show you a lot of good stuff. The other thing I think happens and I see this on plates, is once the mycelium has filled the plate, I do think the mycelium goes, hey guys, where'd the agar go? Where'd all our food go? And like, I think enzymatically or how it grows, something metabolically, something just changes a little bit. Cause that is frequently when I almost never see contam on the plate right away. I
Mhm.
usually see it after it's full, and I thought for sure this is a clean plate, and then all of a sudden, oh, where'd that come from? Oh, it's because the mite got bored, and then that other thing came in and started growing.
Yeah, yep, exactly. I sometimes it could be stuff from the edge of the plate, but when you
Yeah,
get better at sterile culture, you're like, maybe that's not it. You're like then you start to think about, well, maybe these sectors there's something else going on. You're
right.
like, oh, that's when you start getting really super paranoid, but you just got to deal with it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, and then all the literature said that fungus gnats can absolutely be a vector for it, which just makes sense if we just got done saying it's everywhere. And these
Mhm.
little gnats just flying around, you just never know what they're gonna bring on in.
If you do happen to have a what a co-committed or whatever, like a the you see fungal gnats, a lot of times fungal gnats are actually attracted to bacterial contamination. So
Because
it's
they
often
smell
a
it, right? Because they smell it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I think insect is like, if you really want to start talking about having problems, when you start seeing like fungal gnats, that's probably a really bad sign, because that
You're
means
getting
you've got that.
lazy. Yeah. You're probably
Yeah,
getting
something is
lazy. Yeah.
clean and something is attracting. They're like fruit flies, they're attracted to fruit. And fungal gnats
Smells.
are
Yeah.
smells. Yeah, and you can smell
Mhm.
it. When I open my tent now, I noticed yesterday I opened it. Something was wrong immediately. I smelled it when I opened the door, unzipped it, and it's like bam. And of course, yep, down there in the corner, something's bacterial. Like I did the second flush. I did I soaked it, and yeah, I
Okay.
had a tub that was like too bacterial. Like I soaked it for
See,
too long.
and that goes along with that concept of just eventually over time, something else just gonna rear its ugly head
Yep.
somehow,
Yeah.
some way. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
I got rid of it immediately. Yep. It's just trouble waiting for it to happen. A guy said
and
he was going away for 3 weeks yesterday, and it was like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Good luck, dude.
it's
three
funny.
weeks. It was like 2 weeks. Like, it's not a cat or a dog. Like, your neighbor can
Yeah.
come over and see if the cat's still alive. But I don't know. Can they come check on your
Yeah.
mono tub?
Please, somebody babysit. Okay, hey guys, new Myco hustle. Everybody's looking for a new Myco hustle. I'm trying to help everybody out. The new hustle is like
Mhm.
a like fungal babysitter, like a mushy babysitter. You got to start the website, get out there, right? I mean, people will pay you to watch their stuff because I know people that just never go anywhere because
But you
they
need to you
can't.
need to you need to vet them, dude,
Training
because
program. Yeah,
they're just
we set up a training
they're,
program. It's all
they're
good.
okay, man. Dude,
Give give
we're like
yeah, give
job creation.
yeah, look at this. I mean,
We should be running
indeed.com. Yes.
like a political campaign or some shit. Like, we're making jobs. We're for the
I'm
people.
we would immediately be as good as all the rest of them doing that, I can tell you that.
Create more American jobs for
Yes.
them.
Yeah. Here you go.
You're
My friend Myco Dandy just said, I was at the beach for a week and a half and brought my tubs and bags with me.
nice.
But no, what I want is I want the
Oh, that's
picture of you
awesome.
on the beach in your
You're
chair
chilling.
with the umbrella and then just the tubs just on either side of you.
Oh, they said to keep it at 85 degrees.
Uh,
You'll be like fanning it and stuff.
oh my
Your
god.
wife's over there like sweating the ball or well, like, not balls, but she says,
Yes.
honey, can you get me like a margarita? No, 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 no. I need a glass of ice. Give me a glass of ice. Get me a
Yeah.
Corona and a glass of ice. I need to fan the tub.
Yes. Yeah, and then here Mushman 9000, shout out to one of my ride or die forever homies right here. Mushman 9000 says, "I'll come trip out with your slime mold." The mold knows. Yes, the mold knows.
It's the
Um,
parsimony, man. It's all about parsimony, brah.
That's
Efficiency
Ed's
of
word of the
parts.
week, parsimony. If you guys didn't catch 𝐸𝐸𝐬𝐶 little show last weekend, we did some vocab. Parsimony.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
for every Thai word I learn and English, if that's English, Latin word, whatever I would learn, I forget like simple words like it's like, what do you call this thing? Like it's a paper. Oh, Post-it note, you
Like, what are
dumbass.
these things again?
I
You used to
know,
write
but
with them before we stopped
yeah,
learning how to write things.
with
What
the
are those?
keyboard. Yeah, what is this? It's the thing you do this now with this one.
Yes.
Yeah, but here, no, they don't call them Post-it notes here. So, or I'm just getting Alzheimer's or something. I don't know.
Dude, man, every time I see that meme of that guy in front of the board with all the Post-it notes, every time I think about you. I want the camera to turn one time so we can just see it. One time.
See the reflection in my mobile phone, maybe. There's a lot of them.
Not entirely, no.
But I got colors. I got lots of colors. Orange. They're all color coded. No, they're not really.
So you taught me this. So about the gnats, the flies in general.
That's gnats with a G, by the way.
Yes, gnats, guys.
Gnats.
Yes, not to be. If you get gnats in your gnats, it's a real problem.
That's a problem, yeah. But I've seen people like they write it, and then I get confused. They're talking about gnats, and I'm like, they're talking about insects. Shit.
Do they? I have not seen that.
Just happened like 4 or 5 times, and it's taken me like 10 or 15 minutes. I'm like, oh wait, Jesus, they're talking about fucking insects.
Oh my god! All right, so far the joke of the night: suburban electric. God, I can't even read words anymore. Good night.
There you go. GSS, man. Hell yeah, dude. That's my new ISO, bro. That's the Ed Grand cut, dude. A GSS, bro.
GNSS.
Oh yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, we got So
he's gonna do it, guys. He's writing it down. He's gonna make a fungal gnat with a gnat. It'll be gnat squared, but it'll be gnat squared.
Oh,
a lot of. All right, here we go. Benny boy, black gnat. Yes.
See, man, dude, like I could make the first what do you call like gnats? Like inter-kingdom hybrid. Like an invertebrate with a fungus, man. There you go.
What is the term? I'm sure I'm not gonna never mind. I'm not gonna say it. I'm sure there's someone's gonna go look up right now what that term is to when you breed between kingdoms.
Anyway. Isn't it called like bestiality or something?
Yes, that's the attempts for sure. Yes. 100%.
Oh, chimpanzees, man. No, humanzees. Look it up. It's
I love this, dude. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. Michael Mama's like, without even meaning to, or maybe they mean to. They're like solution-based humans. They always have a solution for problems. So there you go. She pronounces them gnats when talking to people or making videos to distinguish between the two. Of course you do. Of course you have of course you have a solution. I would expect nothing less. All right. So I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have a different slide for this. Hold on. we're on to a different topic.
I'm going to flip my air conditioner on real quick.
See, guys, you guys got to feel bad for Ed. Not only is he doing about 40 crosses a day, harvesting, I don't know, God knows how many crosses, he's probably harvested 3 things. He's doing it right now. I'm sure he's not even turning on his air conditioner.
Oh, I'm going to get a drink.
But it's hot over there.
Oh, yeah. Well, literally my front room, because I opened my bedroom door. I've got a little air conditioner, but the bedroom's heating up because I got the door open. Like, Jesus, yeah, you got to, it's like preemptive because I know my grow room, which is right next door, is going to hit like 90. And like we're talking about temps, I want to keep my grow room like below 100. It's like,
oh, don't you worry, guys. We're going to talk about cobweb mold. We're getting there. So another thing that some of the literature was saying, and I think this correlates. I think if you guys just think to all the times you see a tub with trichoderma in it. It wasn't a dry tub. It was definitely a juicy tub. So the one of the studies, and it referenced 2 studies specifically about this because they're trying to, right, in the commercial mushroom space, they're trying to figure out, they want to grow as many of these button mushrooms as they can and, recoup as much of their investment dollars they can. And they basically proved that anything over 80% moisture content in the substrate was much more likely to be a favorable substrate for trichoderma. So there's that balance you got to meet. You got to we got to hit field capacity, and yet we play this game with, and I've been hearing a lot lately, a lot of my friends who are real good growers are like, yo, Geeky, I got a pro tip. We're running wet these days. We're running wet. Cool. You can do that. And I'm sure the fruit like the, juice them up, guys, juice them up. But if you have a problem with trichoderma, that's probably not the game for you to play.
Yeah, and if you have 100% clean spawn, you can get away with a lot of shit.
A lot.
But if you've got a chink in your your spawn preparation, right, man, it'll come through in the final product. Yep. I never realized how important clean spawn is. You hear and you see grows, and you don't want to tell anybody to that I wouldn't use that spawn. If it's somebody who's just learning to make spawn, you don't want to be like, oh, that don't really look that great. So you try to encourage them, but it's you just hope it works out. But it probably doesn't most of the time.
I mean, again, if you're new, you want fruit, you want pretty fruit, you want sexy fruit.
Any fruit. Any fruit.
Or just literally any fruit. And then a month later, it's do you guys know how many people have hopped in my DMs after teaching them how to grow mushrooms? And then they're like, hey, Geeky, do you need any mushrooms? No, dude.
Jesus,
none of us do. Anyway, somebody was talking about metabolites. We'll get into that when we get to wet bubble. We'll talk about differentiating between just simple mic piss versus wet bubble. That's not too hard to do. We'll get into it. We'll get into that. We'll get into some, the blue bruising, all that stuff.
It'll be hour number 7.
Yes. Well, I mean, it will still be short compared to some of the epic streams you guys have been doing lately. I mean, I feel like a pansy right now. All right. So guess what? All right. I think if you guys have any other trichoderma questions, throw them out. All right. Real quick before we do, one question. The consensus on Trichovic, there's no consensus on it. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I prefer MPG plus. John has been on the show. He's been a friend for a while. He says for most people, he wouldn't recommend Trichovic. He would recommend MPG plus. He said there are very certain situations, people that have just huge problems with trichoderma. He said maybe those people should specifically be using Trichovic. So I think I would steer the average person away from Trichovic and into MPG plus if you want to give that a try. I use it, still use it. Every time I try to stop using it, I can't stop using it. It's great. I love it. Don't take my word for it. FA and FO and figure it out for yourself. All right. So let's move on. All right. So next, we're going to go to dry bubble, and I'm going to call it dry bubble because I don't know if I can say lecanicilium. How do you say that?
I was wondering that same thing.
Okay.
Lecanicilium, I think would be
lecanicilium. I like it. Let's do that. All right. And I put this here. The mushroom deformer. I'm excited to talk about this one because I think there's going to be a few light bulbs that go off in people's heads when we start getting into this one. Dry bubble. Lack of research into dry bubble, guys. The pathogenicity means we do not know its exact host range. We don't know what fruits it infects. I'm almost absolutely positive it definitely infects cubes. If you look at some of these necrotic lesions on the top of this Agaricus bisporus, if you look at the stipe blowout, I have never had it quite that serious, but I have had grows where the mycelial tissue on the stipe pulls off and like feathers a little bit.
Mm.
And then what they here actually call the dry bubble, kind of looking like a blob. I mean, sometimes it's a blob and maybe sometimes it's a dry bubble, right? You gotta get the good pictures to know the difference.
Yes, that's one of my notes is to blob. I got a stormtrooper that's doing what looks like in the dry bubble picture.
Nice.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna let it grow for another 3 or 4 days to see, make sure maybe it's just dry bubble.
Now, I don't think I have ever had dry bubble. Maybe, I'm not certain. I've never had the blobby dry bubble anyway.
I guess I don't think I have, but
Yeah,
now that we're talking about it, it's like,
who knows? Now, I will say this, for a hot minute, I was doing this little hack where if you run DC-Mac genetics and your first flush you run cold, it will typically blob. And boy, are they amazing. I mean, they are something special. But I would slice them up into little chips, right? I'd make blob chips. And it was just like clean white on the inside, clean white tissue. It did not seem like this. So, I mean, maybe I've had it, but I'm gonna, when doing the research on this one, I was like, oh, I gotta pay attention. I don't, not sure if I've had this. I feel like I've seen pictures of people who are saying, are these blobs? What are these? And they might have actually been this dry bubble. I don't know.
oh, okay. Now I'm seeing that used to be called verticillium. That's what there's. Oh man, on the they're saying here, and it's also an anamorphic, which is an asexual form of a cordyceps, cordycipitaceae.
Yes, it's a cordyceps for fungus. Yep. Yeah, that I didn't include that in here, but that was.
Oh man,
I was like, I don't need to go down that rabbit hole because I'm trying to keep it on cultivation. But yeah, that's nothing safe, guys. Cordyceps if it can infect insects and worms and bugs. And now fungus, what's next? Oh wait, I watched HBO. I know it's
no, that's what I'm kidding. No, you're gonna freak some people out, dude.
Guys, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Like, don't even bother washing your hands. It's pointless. Twice pointless.
Yes.
Just spray your entire body with 70% alcohol. And then probably Pine Sol.
Yep.
Never touch your kids, your dog, your pet. Don't eat outside ever again.
Don't do anything ever again. That's all you got to do, guys. All right. So I was gonna say, when I put this together, it was fascinating. They know for sure that this is a problem for Agaricus bisporus. I could find no evidence in any literature repository that this is documented too much beyond that. I think I could find maybe 4 different species. There's a pleurotus that gets it. And I think for commercial species, it was just Agaricus and pleurotus. But they said that there were just a handful of other wild found mushrooms that they proved had it. But it didn't. There was not a lot of research on it, to be honest. So this is one where I'm like, I don't even know if this is one of our problems, although I feel like I've had the stipe blow out.
I think I have too. Yeah, I wouldn't have recognized it as a contaminant. But somebody out there thinking about going to graduate school.
Hey guys,
write that
absolutely down. And fungal pathology is definitely where it's at.
Oh, fuck yeah.
If you don't view fungus as a problem, good luck these days.
The solution and the problem to all of life's problems. So is that what they say?
That's all you gotta say.
All the cause and the solution to all of life's problems.
So this is kind of cool, and yet maybe see, this is why I did this, because it kind of looked like cordyceps. Now. All right. Cool. So anyway, this one, guys, this is one where I think it would be cool if, now that you guys know they're these little brown necrotic lesions, they're supposed to be relatively undefined margins, irregularly shaped. You can definitely Google more pictures on this stuff. they said that at least for Agaricus bisporus, it was poor air circulation, high humidity, late harvesting, meaning that the dry bubble favored a fruit that was just beginning to decay. So if it was like still growing and healthy, it was much less likely to have this problem. If they were, a commercial farm is like late to harvest something, that's when they would come up to their trays and be like, oh shit, we're too late on this one.
See, I get confused about this one a bit. I've read about these all before, but like I would maybe think, oh, that's Pseudomonas bacteria,
For the
like
necrotic lesions, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
and it could be
problem.
you'd just have to test it or figure it out somehow, yeah.
So if you that's the problem, even if you got a scope and you were like pick off one of those little brown spots, it would be hard to tell between, the difference between, is that your mushroom mycelium or is that the leccanicilium, or is that?
I mean, wouldn't you? If I had that fruit on the left, I would take a real sharp scalpel. I'd grab the thinnest piece of that I could get, so that I knew I would have a bit of mycelium with it, but then I would have the brown stuff, and I'd plate it and just see if I couldn't get some sectors of both. That would be my first attempt, or I just give it to Kyle Cannon and he can run it through nanopore and he can tell us what both are. Easy.
Yeah, that is another yeah, that actually, dude, that's a good point, man.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't need that many Lactarius deliciosus sequences. Maybe we need a leccanicilium sequence.
Yeah.
Or something more.
So for sure, guys, if anybody has something they think is like this, post it in Mycoholics Anonymous, post it in whatever group you're in, send it to me, send it to Ed. It would be cool to get to the bottom of this one for our cube community to see, like, is this even a thing? Because people talk about wet and dry bubble all the time. But in doing some of this research, I was like, I mean, yeah, sort of, maybe, but I don't know what state blowout was supposed to look like on a cube. Probably look a little different than on a Agaricus. But anyway, so okay, homework.
A brown cube, it's like that's the other thing.
Right.
These things look so different on a white Agaricus. It's like, I don't know. Well, there you go. See, there's your PhD research when you're growing those white albino cubes. They'll be no. This is when you're presenting to the research ethics committee. Like, no. These are Agaricus, and you're like, yeah.
It's the new strain of brown Agaricus.
These are Agaricus.
Yeah. Hey, dude. I mean, let's flash forward 30 years. Is it really so far off to say that our button mushrooms aren't going to have just a dash of psilocybin in them? I mean, who knows?
That's where all this shit's but it'll make a blue pleurotus.
There we go.
It's like, really, do you want to, like, people, you want your missus like confusing your blue pleurotus with the those old coffee things?
I do add. Have you left America? I'm still here, dude. Yes.
We've secretly more people. Yeah, Geeky's morning coffee with his Ganoderma, his cordyceps extract with the new blue pleurotus. Let's see if it makes a difference.
It does.
Like one of those old coffee things. And then some guy will come out later and be like, "You dumbass! You didn't realize that you were tripping."
Yes. Anyway, totally joking, guys. This is what Ed and I do. I'm not serious. Yes, 100%. I do not think that there should be, psilocybin containing button mushrooms at the grocery store, just for clarity. All right. So I wanted to post this from Trisha Howie. She goes, "There are so many. I'm feeling discouraged. Things that can go wrong." Yeah, things can go wrong. It's okay. Don't sweat it. Do you know how many tens of thousands of us are growing mushrooms all day, every day, know exactly what we're doing? You'll get there. It's all good. The good thing is that the techniques, the protocols, the tricks you're going to use are going to protect you from a lot of this stuff. You don't have to have like a radically different game plan for each one.
And that's why we're laughing, because we've probably both grown thousands of tubs. It's one of those things, if you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Some days.
It's like, wow, I just wasted fucking 2 weeks of effort and like $150 worth of substrate. Like, I'm just throwing this shit in the garbage.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, my garbage. I'm taking out 2 full garbage bags today. Like, this is fucking funny. I hope my neighbors don't find this, because they'll probably arrest me for growing magic mushrooms. Like, this is funny. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
arrested for bags of fucking contaminated dirt. Like,
Yeah.
this is fucking hilarious.
Man, these are not things I think when I take my garbage out, but there are definitely weeks where the amount of spent cakes. So I used to just dump them in the garbage, and then I had to be like, no, I got to dump those in the backyard. Maybe if they're really contaminated, yeah, I had to change. I couldn't do that anymore.
Well, see, I use municipal, dude. I went out, I share garbage bins. There's like 4 big bins, and I share them with like about 20 neighbors. They've got chickens, so I fucking go out there, and their chickens are picking through my substrate cakes. Like, one of the little kids like saw the chickens on top of the garbage, and they start picking, so they pull out my bag of garbage, and next thing I know, there's like a fully formed cake like laying in the middle of the street. The chickens are eating the grain out of it. I'm like, wow, those chickens are gonna get high. Like, to those fighting cocks, you know? So they're gonna be like asking me, like, dude, that shit, like grain, that rice, my chickens ate it and they beat the fuck out of this other chicken.
They're like
I won like $3,000.
They're like, my chicken started hovering above the other chicken.
Exactly.
It enlarged. It grew 4 heads and it attacked it from all sides. How did it
fucking
do that?
Lasers came out of its fucking eyes. Another fucking research project. No shit, man. It's like the aggressive levels of fucking whatever chickens, Gallicus domesticus, on the psilocybin dosage.
And you can, guys. He's not even joking.
I'm not joking. That's seriously.
If
that's
you
like
come at it with, if you say it with a straight face, and it's novel, and it looks like you could achieve, you know, the hypothesis, you could test it and figure it out, and it would somehow teach. You could do it. You could,
dude. That's like a whole career. Like right there, like testing the aggressive, like it does like psilocybin cause people to get aggressive,
right?
But of course, you're going to do it in mice or something like that. So you're going to have to learn how to deal with mice, and probably not chickens. I don't know. Oh, angry chicken, like that shit from what was it? It's not The Simpsons. The other one, South Park.
South Park, yeah.
No, was it that one? Who's the guy who's always fighting with the chicken? Yeah, Peter, right?
Yeah,
he's always fighting with that chicken. Yeah, there you go. Toast up chicken.
Stone chicken theory. All right, you guys are on a roll. We got more. Where is it? Feral chickens on the street. Charlie Manson chicken. I love it, guys.
No,
Keep
that's for real, dude. I do literally. I have like fighting chickens in front of my house. My neighbors, like I live in this sort of. You know what I do, man? I had to move to the bad part of town. No, man, my neighbors are driving like Cadillac Escalades, but they still do have like 20 fighting chickens. It's here. It's like, people get dogs or fucking fish. Like, you got a shark in your fucking casino. It's like people. That's the way people roll here. They're like, look, I've got my Ferrari and my fucking fighting chicken, and they're like wearing.
And
like
they ride down the street together. Yep.
Dude, they're like literally a dude like wearing a tux, and he's got like 2 fighting cocks between his arms. Like, this one won me like $800,000, and this one's worth like $2 million. And literally, it's like they're breeding them, dude, like cows, like bull semen and like elite monos and shit.
Wow,
dude, like that chicken.
See, our community, it's all the same. I was talking to this guy yesterday. He was like, I come from dog breeding and dog showing, and he was like, all the drama in this community, he goes, you should see what it's like at the dog shows. You should. It's wherever you go, it's always people always gonna be stirring up shit. That's just how it is.
Imagine that, like the Westminster Dog Show. Dude, those like 60-year-old women are probably out there like poisoning each other's dog. Like, look, her Pomeranian's gonna shit itself.
It's gonna shit its pants. Just watch.
Putting laxatives in their feed and like, look, watch this. Best of show. Like, watch that white poodle ain't gonna look so good when it's got shit smeared down its left leg.
And then it would be a big scandal. They'd have to pull it from the Westminster competition. Yes.
The Labradoodle scandal of 2024. You didn't hear about that? Be like that Tara Lipinski. What was that chick who like Bast?
Tara Lipinski, dude.
Is it Tara Lipinski? Yeah, it's like Bast.
Wasn't that her? Or no, was that something Kerrigan?
Tasha. Yeah. Kerrigan. Nancy Kerrigan.
Nancy Kerrigan.
Tasha Lipinski. something like that. Tara Lipinski. Yeah.
Tanya.
Tanya, that's it. Yeah,
Tanya.
yeah, Tanya.
There
Yeah,
was a good movie about that. It was really good. Speaking of great movies, have you seen the new movie Wet Bubble Disease? It's great.
Oh, but I remember the Vikings. I did see Vikings. I did like that actually, quite good. But I only saw like 1 or 2 seasons, and they were fighting over. I thought about it because like I saw the one where they were fighting over a dead whale, like some whale, and they went to some other island, and then they started fighting over the whale because it was
always a whale
on the border of I was like, Jesus, because they were all hungry, and it was like I just thought it was so appropriate. It was like, wow, humans we're like not very nice sometimes to each other.
We're awful. Oh my God. If you start reading war books, read about like some of the torture practices of Japan and some Latin American countries and conflicts. Ooh, yeah, man. There's no limit to the nasty stuff.
No, but it's so cute. The Spanish donkey. That sounds fun. Like that's the one where they put you on a sawhorse basically and weight down your ankles until you split in half. It's like, oh, that sounds fun.
Yep, here it is. Tanya. I thought it was Tanya Harding, not Tanya Harding.
Tanya, yeah.
And no, poor Tara Lipinski. Oh, she ain't getting no hate from me. I don't hate either one of them. Figure skating's cool. I couldn't do it. I can't. It's like a miraculous. How do they do that?
No, it was Nancy Kerrigan, wasn't that who got her knee bashed?
I do not know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Somebody will correct us.
Somebody will figure it out for us. All right. So the most important thing I want to do with Wet Bubble is figure out how to say mycogon, mycogony. Let's go for it.
Have the answer.
I do not have this one.
I started calling it mycogony because that's the way I heard somebody else say it. And that's what I've heard. People are like, I don't know. I just say it the way you say it. I'm like, oh no, I don't know if that's the way to say it.
I like it. Mycogony. I mean, it doesn't feel Latin-y to me, but it's okay.
Exactly. But mycogon sounds a bit too ghetto. Like
it does, right? Like mycogon. Maybe it's totally appropriate. It's like, hey, what bubbles in town? Mycogon. Right. Well, maybe dad joke number 5, number 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I
like
tell so many.
Trick evict. It's like mycogon.
Yeah, maybe it's a new product we need. I don't know.
Dude, we are full of creativity today. Jesus, man.
It's just coming out. All right. So somebody was talking about Mike Piss. Here we go. So in scouring the literature,
metabolites, you guys. So somebody actually did ask me yesterday. They were like, "What are metabolites?" I've had 3 people ask me this, and I had to resort to like myco piss. It's like, is there a better way to describe metabolites?
It does feel super gross to call it myco piss. So, So I tried to come up with these little headlines for it. Wet bubble disease causes deformed tissue, brown slimy exudates, and fluffy white growth on fruiting bodies. So if you see this here, and I have definitely had this. I think this one isn't terribly uncommon. Most people get this one. At first you think it's a blob, but then it will quickly create these little pores that will get this like very amber colored slimy goo, and if you let it keep growing, it'll stink. It just straight up doesn't smell good. And I don't have to wait for that
problem. I've never smelled it. This is why I don't know. I think I've had like all those diagnostic things you just said, but I never smelled it. And I know I have smelled it, and it didn't have a smell. Like it wasn't aromatic. And I'm like,
so for sure, the literature says absolutely, if left to mature, and like you see in the picture, the in vitro picture, how dark it is, it will get darker, it will get a little bit bigger, and it will get quite rancid towards the end. Not initially, but eventually it starts to smell.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I haven't let it go far enough.
Who knows? So I've had this, and then I think I had I was gonna pull up this video. Let me see if I still got it queued up. Let me get.
This is one wish I've looked at under the microscope trying to differentiate some kind of like structure, and I don't think it has any, like aspergillus and penicillium. You
Correct.
will see
Yeah.
the little the conidiaphores, they're called. They're like aspergillus got this big like head, and then the little spores come off it. But this one is one that like it doesn't have anything under the scope that's like obvious. It just looks like a bunch of when I've looked at it, I think it usually has quite thick mycelium compared to like a normal cube.
Yeah.
And they're
dense,
wide
thick.
and funky.
All right, so let me
like
play this.
stringy.
So this is a guy, OLM Beta, from YouTube. He had 9 subscribers. He did like 3 videos 2 years ago and then went away. But anyway, here's a great little image of, the matted mycelium, and then you get this little fruiting body or mass, or I don't even know what it is. But anyway, I thought that was just a good little thing to show. And
So
you can
that's
see that it's thicker, right? You see the little bubbles, they look a little thicker. And if you touch them, they're slimier. I have done this. They are definitely, it's not just water, it's a little gooey. I think
this is making me think too about when people say like they think they have blobs from species that don't make blobs.
Right.
Or
it could be these things. Yep.
Yeah.
Agree. All right.
I wish there was some kind of diagnostic, like it would change, like have some kind of spores or something. But that one I think doesn't really make spores. This is a bunch of hyphae. Isn't there a Latin expert out there or somebody who speaks Italian? Like if that was Italian, how would you say it? That's normally where I default to, because Italian's probably as close to Latin as we're ever gonna get. Would that be mycoGeeky in Italian?
Yo, let me just do English to Italian, and then let me see. I'll tell you.
That's
English
Google
to Italian.
Little,
see, guys, I don't need to think anymore because Google thinks for me.
No.
Here we go.
Dude, that's what my students had said to me. I swear, almost verbatim what you just said. I'm like,
that's what my daughter says to me every day. Dad,
really?
School's stupid. I don't need to learn
Yeah.
anything. I can look it up. I'm like, I want to puke.
Oh my gosh. Well, I remember that when I first discovered like Netscape searches. I was like, oh yeah. Like I don't need textbooks anymore. Now they're just like, fuck it. I don't need to learn math anymore.
Yeah,
I heard that the other day. They're like, I don't need, somebody was like talking about how multiplication tables were so antiquated.
What do I need that for? I got a calculator. Yep. 100%. All right,
Yeah,
Ed, are you ready? Are you ready? This is how we're going to pronounce it from here on out. Get ready.
MycoGeeky.
Oh,
MycoGeeky.
Oh, okay.
MycoGeeky.
I may have heard it a European say it. This Russian guy came and worked in the lab for a year. Dude, like lactiferous.
Oh yeah.
like Phlebous and all these weird. It's like, what did you just say? Hygrophorus. Hygrophorus. Like what? Oh, Hygrophorus.
Yeah.
No. Hygrophorus. Hygrosby and Hygrophorus. I'm like, yeah, dude.
What we got to do is have a contest. All the different countries have a person say it the way they say it. And then everybody just votes on the coolest one. So maybe like a couple species will be like some Russian guy saying it. A couple species will be a Mexican guy saying it. I mean, maybe English speakers will get a couple here and there, although it probably isn't the coolest version, but I like that idea. That's what we got to do.
That is like an urban dictionary for like mushroom pronunciations.
We need that. Yes.
See, there you go. You don't need to study biology, social science, man.
Here's that. There you go, guys. There's another PhD opportunity. Figure out how to speak Latin, please.
There's another, etymology, right? That's what they call it, right? I was just talking about this last night because pronouncing Thai. There was a girl 2 nights ago me and my other American friend they have subtle things like how you say banana and dick are like really, really close. It's like gloy and gloy. And it's like one means banana, one means dick.
I mean, similar, bro. Haven't you seen them teach kids how to use condoms?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it creates lots of fun things. Like when you go to the market and you ask the old lady, like, how, I'd like the big bananas, the big ones back there, and she's looking at
And
you like,
she's
oh,
looking at you like, you were at
you
the
just
wrong
said
store,
dick.
dude.
Yeah,
You were at the wrong store. That's a couple blocks down.
wrong continent, buddy. No.
All right. So Humboldt County 707 says, McKenna, or whatever that
There you
Italian guy
go.
just said, absolutely makes spores that are identifiable under a scope. All right. We're going to look at them. We're going to look for them. We're going to find them. I have honestly only let it go on accident one time and definitely did not look for spores on them. All right. So next, I did that. All right.
I was scared.
Again, I can say the word cobweb mold, but I am not a Latin human being from, 800 years ago. So I'm going to go ahead and go
There's another one.
Cladobotrium. Cladobotrium. I like botrium. Cladobotrium.
I kind of like that too, but I've unfortunately heard it the other way. Cladobotrium. That comes from botrytis. So
Okay.
this one would probably go back to botrytis is a Latin word for grapes, like a clump of grapes. Says botrytis is a common cannabis. It gets in the buds, and the conidiophores, they look like bunches, like you've got on the slide there. They kind of look like bunches of grapes. And boot something is the Latin name for like a cluster of grapes or something.
Oh, okay.
So we would probably
sense.
go back to the Italians and the default.
God, Ed, look at all you scientists thinking about the name and stuff.
It's the Cladobotrium. So now that I've been sexist, racist, and now I'll be I don't know, what do you call that? But
Italianist? I don't know.
Yeah, what do you call that? I don't. Yeah, Cladobotrium. I'll just pronounce everything with an Italian accent, like Mario.
I think that makes sense. I like that.
Like 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐵 and a Cladobotrium.
It does sound better. It sounds better. All right, man. We're gonna have a whole nother TV show. It's just gonna be us having the Google Translate saying stuff in Italian.
The non-PC mushroom.
Cladobotrium.
Oh, by the way, if you didn't like me already.
Okay, I got it. You were pretty close, dude. Here we go.
Cladobotrium. Cladobotrium.
Cladobotrium.
Cladobotrium.
And you gotta let the M resonate. Cladobotrium.
Yeah. He sounds like he's a little distressed.
He is really Italian.
Like you'd be talking, I got a problem with the Cladobotrium in my
Yes.
In my anus. Yes. My anus no, that's
anus.
My anus has a problem with Cladobotrium. Wow, I hope.
So
America,
I have had this once. Have you had cobweb?
Yeah, unfortunately, that was the last thing I had, and I don't know what provoked it. I just got rid of it so fast. I didn't even. So that's the kind of thing too. Like we're saying, when you notice these things, your retention of bad, like it's like smoking cannabis. It helps you forget things like PTSD. You're like, wow, I threw away 4 tubs today, and it's just like, oh, and like literally, you're making more tubs like 2 hours later. You're like, yeah, whatever. It's like you left your children at the park or in the Walmart. You're just like, yeah, fuck those children. I'll make more.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I got 3 more at home. Yeah. That's fine. I don't need that one.
Yep. I love them all, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I never really liked that one that much anyway. I'll just leave them at the Walmart. Yeah, when you get to like your 4th tub of the day that you've thrown out, you're just like, I don't know, was that Cladobotrium? Botrytum.
I like botrytum. That sounded more Latin-y for me, botrytum, but
easier to remember how
Cladobotrium.
Cladobotrium.
Again, but like you said, nobody knows. No one's ever spoken with a native speaker of Latin, so we really have no.
Yeah.
I think your instinct of going, how does an Italian say it, is probably not the worst idea.
Yeah, I think
Just
so.
pick an accent.
Second best
Go with
would
it.
probably be a proper Spaniard,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure, like Mexico, the cholos go like, yeah,
And I
there
actually
you
love one
go.
of my favorites is like having any Spanish speaker pronounce the genus and species of mushrooms. It always sounds good down there. I'm gonna tell you right now. All right, so
Yeah.
cobweb, right? It gets its name because it kind of looks like a little like cobweb.
Mhm.
The thing people are always asking me is this cobweb? What is this? And I just tell them, if you've grown mushrooms, you know what the mycelium looks like. This doesn't grow that way. It's extremely thin. And a super cool thing you can do, you get a little project, you get a little science experiment. You can throw a little hydrogen peroxide in a spray bottle, mist it, and it just goes away. Your mycelium will not go away. Your aerial hyphae will not go away. The cobweb mold kind of disappears. It'll come back, but at least for that moment, disappears. So yeah, fine gray white mycelium resembling a spider's web spreads rapidly. I think that's the thing that when I remember pulling out a tub, and I got it when I would store my shoe boxes in a larger tub that had water in the bottom. And so I think that reservoir was a vector for it. I basically had a tub in a tub. I had an aquarium heater, so I had like a little incubator for my tubs. And that's the only time I got rid of that thing, because I was like, this is going to continue to be a problem. I don't want to mess with it. But yeah, like that night I saw a tiny little patch. I was like, this is probably cobweb. By the morning, it was huge. I was like,
Oh
oh my
yeah,
God, this
that's the
shit grows
thing.
really fast.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
very fast.
That's how if you see it and you think it's cobweb, like
Yes.
within 24 hours, you will know.
You will know for a
And
fact.
then you'll be
Yes.
like, oh yeah, that's what cobweb is. Yeah, I
Yep.
probably should have threw it. And then next time you'll know to throw it away.
Yep. Yeah,
Well,
and then some of the notes was appearing often at the end of a crop cycle, commonly during fall and winter. But then they were saying if it appears early, no bueno, like real bad news. That's like a sign of a real systemic problem.
yes, yes. That's why it worried me when I saw it last time. Luckily, it was just a single tub, and there was clearly something wrong with the spawn. Yeah, that's something that starts like
Always
like
a spawn.
Yeah, it's something way back at the beginning. That's where the problem is. That's not like a problem probably with your substrate or whatever. That's probably much more like a systematic problem that needs to be addressed.
Probably.
But I don't know. I maybe, like I said, I've like had my farm in like 4, 5, 6 different places in the last several decades, and everyone has its unique problems. Like some people say, "Oh, I've never had slime mold," and I just got it once here, but I've never, ever, ever had it. It's because of it was too wet. But like other places, I had trick, and then sometimes, maybe I don't know what, like maybe you got aspergillus problem for some reason that like I don't know. Like I don't ever really have aspergillus, but I know it's everywhere. But maybe maybe if you're using like different grain or something, you might have other like kind of problems that I wouldn't have with my rice. Like maybe oats, or they have some indigenous, endospores of aspergillus, or so like aspergillus flavus, I guess on like peanuts. Maybe you got peanuts in your kitchen. I don't
All right, Big Al. I hear you. FYI, there's something called a dictionary. It's not only for definitions, they also tell you how to pronounce words. Go figure, right? For example, bro, do you know what I know? You see these little words at the end, these little letters, like some cryptic ancient language. I didn't take a class to teach me how to pronounce that.
I know, me neither.
Doesn't do me any good, man. I'm educated, but I don't know what those little I know it. I did it a couple times. I went back to the key. I figured it out.
Phonetics,
like
or
phonetics,
something like that. What, like trying to tell me how to pronounce a Thai word with like tones and stuff after a while, that stuff is like, yeah, really? That's like how you say it.
Yeah. Oh, Big Al just said MycoGeeky. I like MycoGeeky. I like MycoGeeky better than MycoGeeky. MycoGeeky. Okay.
But didn't the Italian guy say mycogony?
Well, what did he say?
My
I like how we think it's a real person.
I remember because he said it like kind of like I do, and that's where I think I got it from Europeans.
MycoGeeky.
Yeah, I think that's what he said.
MycoGeeky.
I remember because I thought it sounded funny too. Like, oh, you stupid Europeans. When I was like, yeah, you guys sound like, dumb. I don't want to use that word. But you guys sound like, what is have MR people? You Europeans, you're stupid.
Sorry, I was still looking up this whole thing. I was not following that whole thing. I'm getting
yeah,
a
I just remember
little
going to
obsessed with
conference.
English to Italian here. All right, let me get this off.
Is that phonetics? Yeah, it's hard because that's what Google Translate does. It gives you the little phonetics thing, and you're like, that's like harder than just like I just listen to people.
Yeah.
I'm okay at speaking Thai. People are always asking me, other white dudes, they're like, how do you say this in Thai? I don't know, like listen to the way they say it. I have no clue. They're like, well, what tone is that? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. Like, yeah, look it up in the dictionary. I don't know that. It's like bye, like bye. I don't know. Bye. It means go away. Like
all
you
right,
hear the word.
Here we go. This is why. Okay, dude. Well, you better know how to pronounce that then.
Oh, linguist.
He's a linguist. Yeah, dude. Linguistics are cool. I took one class of that. It was fascinating. Really fascinating to hear about the languages that are dying or almost dead. I guess for a while there were just a handful of native Eskimo language speakers. I don't know what the language was, but so there were people getting their PhD or they just had their PhD, and all they would do is literally live with this old person and talk to them and record them talking in their language as much as possible before they died, knowing that like at some very near future point, there's going to be no native speakers anymore.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a heroic, amazing thing you're doing for the, archiving the fabric of humanity. I was also talking to a buddy in Mexico about that, about when the colonizers come in, they want to erase your culture. They want to erase your practices. And I mean, how much of that stuff is just completely gone now? Or wars erase this stuff too.
Is somebody doing that in East Tennessee trailer parks? So that's the important thing. Those people are a dying breed. Somebody needs to document them.
All right. Ed has just come up with PhD number 7 for the evening. Document the local vernacular of, an Appalachian hill person or something.
Did you probably get a Pulitzer Prize, a screenplay, a fucking Nobel Prize?
They'll make a movie out of it.
Like,
yes.
Wow. Like these people were going extinct. They all like OD'd on fentanyl and meth. Like we need to.
They're gone.
You could get like money from like all kinds of agencies. Like you get like hundreds of thousands of dollars to document like a certain vernacular. Like this is
that there's money for that. There's money for zebras, and there's money for birds, but there's just no money for mushrooms. It's so sad.
But for real, there is. I do know a guy who goes up in the hill tribe. They call them hill tribe people here. They're like the natives, and it's exactly like you said.
Yeah,
they go up and literally they go up and they'll talk to some 90-year-old woman, and they're like there with their phone or whatever, recording it because it's like this lady might be dead next week.
Yep.
Yeah, these are literally they're people that like they might have came down from China, like Yunnan or whatever, and they end up in these little cracks in the mountains. It's like where my mom's from in Pennsylvania. Like there might only be 200 people in that village, and all of them are above 80 years old. And once that village is dead, there's going to be a 7-Eleven there. Like it's going to turn into a 7-Eleven and a fucking like a gas station or whatever, like a Walmart parking lot. Like all this shit's going bye-bye. And it seriously, people get money from UNESCO and all these, like, what are they called? NGOs. Like I know a dude who comes here, spends 6 months a year, basically kind of chills, goes records some old lady for like a couple hours a week, and then like has a good vacation. And then, well, he's got to write papers and, finish his PhD and all that shit. But eventually, for real, you can do research like this. It's like, linguists. I made the mistake of, sorry, I'm getting all distracted now. There was this Here's one thing. If somebody asks you, if you're a scientist and you get a hot girl that says, hey, I need you to edit my linguistic dissertation. She's like, it's written in Thai and I Googled it basically and turned it into English. Can you help me, like, fine tune it? But linguistics is a very, very specialized field. And so, like, if you're just trying to, like, garner favor with a lady, it's not worth it. Like 400
That
pages
is
of
a
PhD.
reoccurring theme for you, Ed. You are always delivering the sage
No,
advice of
it's a
it's
lie.
not, if you're doing it for a girl, it might not be worth it.
It's not worth it.
Yes.
We've got AI for that shit now, man.
Yes.
Dude, the girls that pop up on my reels, my Facebook reels, there's no, how can a human compete with that?
These days it could even be AI, man. Like,
walk around with my
it's not even
my
real.
glasses on.
Yes. Yep. Man, so I'll tell you this about cobweb though. I've had a lot of older school growers say that from all the stories they've heard, that it isn't a major one. It's not very common, and it, like you just said, it tends to be one of those where you move into a house and it's there, and so you're just gonna get it every once in a while.
I'm not sure that this one, to me, I think it has that kind of neutral smell. I'm thinking that this is the one when you open a bag of spawn and it doesn't smell like cube spawn. It's got that sort of.
Think this might be that?
I think this is that one. Yes, it's got that weird, like totally neutral smell, but not. It's like a smell of a not a smell. It's like a gray smell, and I think this might be that. I haven't really.
Now I want to grow it and smell it.
I know that's the thing. When I smell spawn like that, now I don't grow it out, as I know something's wrong. Like the lack of a smell is just as bad as a sour smell or some other weird thing.
Freaks me out more, dude.
Oh, I know.
Truly neutral. It just I hate it because you're like, well, god damn it, can't you just be sour smelling or fermented smelling? That I know for a fact. But you don't. I'm not getting enough earthy mycelial smell. What do I do with you, Jar?
Dude, I got my bag, so I'm sitting there huffing a bag for like, and then I'll put it down and come back like 5 minutes later, like, let me give it another shell. And it's like I'm huffing paint or some shit. It's like, yeah. God. And then I'm like, if this is like pathogenic, I probably shouldn't be huffing a bag of it. Like, let me smell my.
Yes, some of these can cause, what is it, mushroom lung or whatever the term is. So yes, don't huff contams. Definitely don't do that.
Oh man, you don't know, get high. The trick, bro. Dude, get totally high on the trick, man. You mix that with some paint thinner and glue, man. You'll see the mind.
You'll meet the entities. You'll meet.
Yeah, that's where the fucking gnomes are.
Spore lung. Yes, spore lung. You don't want spore lung.
Trick in there.
You don't want that.
That's the secret ingredient.
The spore lung, that also happens in woodworking. Some people develop huge allergies to certain sawdust from certain wood.
Oh, from the fungus?
It can be no, just from the wood. The wood, their lungs, they breathe it in, it gets in their lungs react, and they have like a big inflammatory response in the lungs. No good.
Oh, I thought maybe you meant the spot, like that spalting.
No.
Yeah, I thought maybe that would be interesting. What is that? One of those blue oh god, what's it called? It's the green cop, or the you know what I mean, the spalting in wood.
Yeah, you can buy it. There are guys on Etsy that sell it, and because some people want to cut down logs, inoculate the logs, and use them later. And I'm like, dude, do you really? That seems so complicated, but whatever. And then the problem with the spalting is it makes the wood a little punky. Like you have to really get it just at the right time, and it's hard to do. All right, so again, fungal gnats and fruit flies can be vectors, don't have to be, but here's the reoccurring theme. Flies, not good. Flies land on things. They bring things from one place to another. They get into your tent. They smell a stinky tub. they go in there. If there's another tub that, they wander around in, now that tub's going to be infected. You you don't want the fruit flies. You don't want smelly stuff in your grow tent. All right. Everybody's favorite guy. We are on to yellow mold.
Dude, I got this
Cepidonium.
right now. I just looked at it.
You have
night.
it?
Yeah, I do got it on a goddamn plate. I think that's what it was. Now looking at the picture you've got there, I
colored it, Ed. I tainted it. Now I don't know what color it is because even the color, the image it looked like maybe lactophenol blue in it or something like that. But
but the outline of, oh God, what did I do with it? The outline, I looked at it under the scope at 100x, and it looks exactly like that.
Okay.
That you're showing up there. Oh my God.
So again, this is just a great thing to point out, guys. There's a bunch of uses for a microscope. If you're feeling like, man, $240 is just too much for me, you can do a lot of stuff with it, right? You can confirm clamps. You can confirm lack of clamps. You can look for contamination. There's stuff you can do with it. Let's see. Okay, we're waiting. This is
man, I put it somewhere.
Very exciting now. Now you can't
put
find
it. I've got like 500 plates.
I am sure.
I put it somewhere. Like one of those things. Like, let me put it there so I remember it.
And then
it disappears.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
So now, dude, I had a question for you. Teleomorph, that's like a stage, right? So it's saying it's a hypomycete species at a certain stage. But then what does cepidonium mean? I was confused.
Teleomorph means the sexual stage.
Okay.
So hypomyces, you probably know lobster mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like all the infection mushrooms, right? Like it's a lot of the species that infect other mushrooms.
Yeah. They've got them on. I think there's about 3 or 4 common species. They get on Amanitas and Russulas and Lactarius and some other kinds of. I think some get on boletes. There's one that gets on boletes too. The little that little tiny Xerocomus, that little tiny bolete. Sometimes you'll find them in the summer and they'll be like really, really vibrant yellow. They'll get white, and then so the pores, they'll go like really, really white, and then the yellow, and that's the teleomorph. So that's the sexual state of the fungus. That's why they change color, because they're basically producing the teleospores.
I see.
It's the sexual state. So the anamorph, it's easy to remember if you remember anamorph, asexual.
Right.
So, and that's cepidonium.
Yeah, cepidonium feels good to me.
Yeah.
Cepidonium nivium. I like it. Not that's like a average difficulty Latin word right there.
Yeah, that's the anamorph. So that's the thing. A lot of these things this is actually due to like 18 other PhDs or research or careers to make the connection between an anamorph and a teleomorph. That's what DNA sequences are for.
Oh, we were out in the woods with some locals, and one of the gals was talking about how they just figured one of those out, and that it was a whole deal. And so sky's the limit, guy. Get your teleomorphs aligned with your anamorphs, and PhD thesis defended.
Well, after going through the ICBN and figuring out what teleomorph name to give it. Because what you're going to have is 1,000 isolates of what you think is Aspergillus flavus. And when you look at the DNA sequences, because, it's the yellow Aspergillus. And then when you do the sequence and you realize, like, holy shit, like this is the anamorph of a basidiomycete, and this is an anamorph of an ascomycete.
Right.
You're like, what the fuck? How am I going to resolve this taxonomy and nomenclature? Like, maybe not that extreme. But they'll be like, you come up with what you call penicillium on your plate because it looks like penicillium. That's the anamorph. And then you realize, like, oh my God, this is now connected to like 300 different teleomorph names that are mushrooms and plant diseases. And then you're like, oh, it's peach curl, and but wait, it's also like cucumber blight, and it's
Right.
it's also this little
And
mushroom.
you're like, oh, I just figured out one thing is 90 things.
Yes.
Awesome.
And the headache.
I wonder how many people go to get a PhD researching a certain idea, topic, concern, situation, problem, whatever, and they think that they're onto something and they're ready to solve it, and they actually just what they figure out makes it so much more complicated they can't actually get the thesis because
Yes.
they figured something out, but they didn't solve a problem or conclusively figured something out. They just like complexified the problem.
Dude, if you listen to any of these people we think are really, really smart, that's one of the first things they'll say is that when you start doing research and you start learning, it's kind of one of those classic Dunning-Kruger moments, Dunning-Kruger, where it's like, you don't know what you don't know until you start chipping away at it. And you're like, oh my gosh. Like somebody right now might be sitting at home like a first-time cube grouper, like, oh my God, Geeky and Ed are depressing me. Like, fuck this shit. I don't want, like, don't get discouraged, you guys. Like we're saying fancy names and stuff. It's not really, we're kind of we're trying to be entertaining also, but it's like,
we're just having fun. Yeah.
Don't get like paranoid and be like, oh my God. Like it's okay. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
But the more you learn, like some of the people that have started doing monos and stuff, now that they'll send me messages and they're like, oh my gosh, dude, like they just like isolate their first mono, and then they're like, starting to wonder about, well, what is the meiotic apparatus, and all these, like, then you start thinking about pheromones and like mating alleles and mating types and unisexual and unifactorial, and then this guy who's got the Amanita phalloides out in California that are like, they're just mating with everything, and they're like this big, it's like a big orgy of deadly poisonous mushrooms out in California.
Yay. Yes.
Like these things are way more complicated than we think.
Yeah.
And then, that's like, the typical like kind of elevator discussion when somebody's like, oh, do you grow mushrooms? You're like, yeah, do you really want to talk about this? Like, do you know?
Are you ready?
Yeah, you read like can of worms. You're opening the Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Like,
that just put a thought in my head. So for all the closeted gay men out there, if you want, and you're attractive, if you want to get the women away from you, you just start talking about mushrooms. Problem solved, guys. Problem solved. Now you can. I'm little pro tips here.
Dude, I've had that mastered since I was like 13. I didn't need mushrooms to do that.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. So
death metal too. Start talking about death metal and mushrooms. They'll run far away.
Done. All right. So this is the, ironically, it is yellow mold. That's the familiar name, but it's a white mold that eventually turns dull yellow to tan when it matures. That competes with the mushroom mycelium. Yeah. Okay. So that would make sense. You said you found it on a plate. So yeah, that's more likely,
It's what I thought it was. It's on a mono. That's why I can't find it, because it's at the bottom of a stack. I was getting monokaryons, and so I picked the monokaryons and I stacked them on top of it. So it's at the bottom of like a pile, like an 8 stack of plates. I thought it was a mono at first, and then when I looked at it under, like, I actually took the lid off and I saw it on the plate, I was like, ooh, that don't really look right. And it had some concentric patterns kind of going to it, and then after a couple more days it started to go tannish, almost like an orangish color, and then I was like, oh good, I'm glad I didn't pick that one for a mono. That's like when you're doing like monos and stuff, make sure you mark the plate where you picked. I know I was talking with DK about this. Like when you pick your monos, and like mark the other side, like the bottom part, not the lid. Or if you're going to mark the lid, put a little tick mark on the top.
That's how I do it. I try to do the bottom method, but I just put an alignment mark on it. That works great.
Yeah, it promotes dyslexia, I think, when you're flipping. I'm like, like what side was that? But yeah, you get that tick thing, or But yeah, so if like one of the things you pick later, if it goes bad, at least you know not to go back and pick it again or
Right.
something too
Yes.
close to it. You're like, wow, I've done that before where like you realize like, oh, I just picked the same it was a dicaryon or a contaminant, and it's like I picked the same thing twice. So that's
Right.
Smart.
But when you start doing that, I know he was telling me, I forget if it was you or him, but one of you guys finally realized that your mono was a mold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened quite a few times.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
then
again,
you have a monoculture of a mold.
yeah,
You're like,
now the real
oh,
fun begins, dude.
that could be the new antibiotic that saves the world, man.
Yes. Yeah. We already
But
got it. We got our medicine. We don't need the
I used to
antibiotic.
go to the market and like look for rotten vegetables. Like, so yeah, one of the students I used to live with, she was doing pathogens that occurred on chili peppers. And we
Okay.
would go and ask the lady at the market, would be like, can we have the rotten chili peppers? And like a typical produce seller is looking at you like, what the hell? She was a Burmese girl, Myanmarese or whatever they're called now. And she didn't speak Thai, and I spoke shitty Thai. This is like 20 years ago. And the sellers are looking at you like, why do you want to buy my rotten fruit, you moron? And they're trying to give you like the good stuff. And we're like, no,
Right.
no, that one. And like put back there in the garbage, that stuff you just threw away. She's just like, they're looking at you like, what is wrong with you?
They're like, man, this weird white dude, what is he doing over here?
Weird. And this Burmese girl who can't, the Asian girl who can't speak Thai, and they're looking at her like, oh, she's stupid. Like, look, the white guy found a stupid mute Thai girl. Like,
man,
evil.
this is getting
the
specific,
devil. The
it's
devil, man.
specific.
He's the devil, man, coming in. He's probably stealing her language too.
Probably.
He's recorded all.
So I have definitely never had this one. But okay. I can pronounce it. Of course, the ones I've never had, I can pronounce.
This would one I think on if it was in your substrate, like this might be one that you would just like see it stop growing. That's what I noticed.
Okay.
Even on the plate, it would be one of those where you would think like, what is wrong with my tub? Like the questions, I'm sure you get them every day. Like, I've had my tub sitting there and it won't fruit. It's colonized and it's not pinning. And they want to know why. Like, it's been sitting there for 3 weeks and there's no pins. Well, I hate to say it, but you've grown Cepidonium or some other.
Maybe I have then. Okay, maybe I have.
I think unfortunately it's like, so some of these things, again, they'll sporulate on an agar plate, but they might not sporulate in our CV. So it'll grow vegetatively and it looks like it's mycelium.
Right.
Yeah. And even if it's mixed in with your quar, you're not going to really notice it, right?
Oh, well, this would make sense because, right, if the teleomorph is always on another fungus, there you go. You just...
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a
very good point.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
It's just going to be some the mycelium shit growing.
All the... Yep. Okay.
There probably would be a recognizable, most animorphs.
So that's cool though, man. That's just to figure that part of it out is cool. And to have you say you probably had it, but you're not going to see it because it doesn't want the substrate. Now why does it do it on the plate though, is what I don't get. What do you think that's all about?
So different media. This is several other research topics. I don't want to keep saying PhD, but yeah, there's several other careers. The growth of different anamorphic fungi on plates and what triggers them to make a teleomorph, like a fruit body. Like you said, it could be the host. Like a lot of the ectomycorrhizal stuff. Like if you're doing soil ecology and you get a soil sample and you isolate 100 things from it, like part of the problem is identifying them because you need to put them on the right media to get some, otherwise it's 100 plates of mycelium.
Right.
Or like, oh, the yellow, like after you, so this is why the names sound so funny, like white mold, green mold, yellow mold, because after about 10 colors, you're like, this is pink mold. And then you're like, well, I've run out of colors. You can't be like, oh, this is the aquamarine mold, and this is turquoise mold, and that's that's amethyst mold, and like it gets to. So then you go back to Latin names, or you start looking for the DNA sequence. So a lot of the ecology people, they get soil samples, they get their isolates, and then they end up doing an ITS sequence. There's different ways to do it now. But it's you get back to the same problem of like, I got to connect the teleomorph with the anamorph and this thing growing on my plate. And sometimes the thing growing on the plate won't sporulate. So I don't have conidia, which would be the asexual conidia spores, the discount spores. And I don't have a sexual fruit body. So where do I go in a dichotomous key to figure this thing out, like what it is? And that's why I'm looking right now. There is a book, actually, it's called It's called The Illustrated Guide to Imperfect Fungi. And it is the place where you go. I'll just copy the Amazon link. You can get PDF. You can get PDF files, but I'll put it in the thing. This is, if you want to know and you do have a microscope, like this is where you go to figure it out. I'll post it in the chat.
Illustrated Genera of Imperfect Fungi.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got a PDF because, man, this thing costs $180.
It's out of print too. Yeah, I think it's on the 4th edition, and I think it was out of print like 30 years ago. It's a pictorial, as it says, is an illustrated guide. It has it's got like a rough picture guide, and then it goes into dichotomous keys. So if you do isolate something and you do want to know what it is, like that's how you figure it out. But that, as it implies, is imperfect. So imperfect is another way of saying asexual, which is another way of saying anamorph. So anamorph, imperfect, and asexual are kind of synonymous in loose terms.
That whole thing is fascinating, and of course, right, the mushroom people, we're just like, mushrooms, that's our jam, but the fungal kingdom is so massive, and there's so many other things, and they're all also fascinating. I mean, I do like a thing I can see and pick and eat and all that good stuff, but the fact that there are things that we see expressed in a teleomorph form that we have not even linked up to its asexual version of itself. It's fascinating. It's cool.
Dude, and so that's how a lot of this research starts, is people looking for media to provoke their culture that is just some white mycelium to make. Like if you see, like we see a pin and we get really excited, but if you've got a random soil sample and you see something on a plate that looks anything remotely like a fruit body, you are like, it's like, wow, and then you start making sections of it and you go all like, microscopy on it, I'll go all medieval with the microtome. It's fascinating. This is, I think, a lot of the progression people go from, like, usually there's 3 things that start people into mycology. It's either a fascination with the medicinal aspect, which is like kind of this microscopic thing, like what is that ringworm on my arm and what is it caused by, or the kind of psychedelic aspect or the edible aspect. But they all kind of start to converge at some point. Like if you like sake, and then you're like, well, in order to make sake, I need to make koji, and then you're like, koji's an aspergillus, but what's an aspergillus? And then it's a big old ball, the can of worms gets opened slowly, and then it's like, whoa, like I can find edible mushrooms in the woods. That's how I started 30 years later.
Yep. I like all those things. They're all cool.
It starts to combine with itself, right? And it becomes this whole menagerie of different things.
Well, and then, I mean, not for everybody. Some people are cool just growing a cube in a tub.
Yeah, that's true.
But if your interest does grow, if you're of the ilk of people that, learns a thing and then wants to know more, it doesn't take long before you just keep wanting to know more. And then, man, once you get a cool tool like a microscope, and it's been amazing to see some of the people in the Discord and the microscopy channel, just seeing them in the beginning, they all start out real frustrated, can't use this thing, can't see anything, can't focus anything, and then you twist their arm and tell them, well, you could watch a couple videos. There are only like 150 videos you can watch online. Why don't you go watch a few of them? They finally do, and then they come back and they go, well, I can at least like take some pictures of spores. Cool. Step 1. And then they get better at mounts, and then they figure out smash mounts, and then they do this. Or some of the guys in the Discord got their own little approach to things, because they're spending time in front of the scope and figuring some stuff out. It's very cool. It's a lot of work. It's tedious. It's not exciting. It's not doing a kickflip ollie in front of a bunch of girls as a teenager. It's definitely not. It's not a dirt bike catching air. It's not. It's you by yourself in a room looking into a microscope, looking at microscopic shit. Really small
dude,
stuff, but it's cool.
Dude, that you didn't hang out with the fern girls, dude.
I didn't. No, I did not.
Those moss girls. When you start talking about like anamorphic ascomycetes that grow on like ferns, dude, you're fucking in there, man. Those panties drop like immediately. You just like. It's like
it uncurls like they uncurl in the spring. They just open up. Yes. Man, I was out hiking with a couple locals, and one of them was like, man, there's no mushrooms here. This is when I get tempted to get into mosses, and I go, don't do it. Don't you do it. You are already way deep in mushrooms, dude. You are obsessed. Are you going to go down a concurrent rabbit hole? You're going to enter the multiverse now? No, you can't.
And then you're going to find out like compound stereoscopes cost more than real microscopes. They're fucking hella expensive.
They are the good ones. The good ones are
the good ones. Yeah. You buy like some $50 one from the toy shop, but a real good stereoscope. Yeah. And then you're like with those arms and shit on it. You're like,
yep.
Now you've got another whole table dedicated to a different kind of microscope.
Yeah. I keep putting it off. I gotta sell the Southern Nikon. I gotta get rid of it. I can't have two. Gotta get rid of them. If anybody wants it, let me know. We'll work you a good deal.
I've been really close to getting a good stereoscope.
I do. I could use one. But yeah, and I'm in no hurry right now.
That's for the kids, they like that because a good like because you got the depth of field thing and they can play with it under the thing, so it's more real.
Yep.
And you don't gotta make goddamn squash mounts or smash mounts.
Yeah, I mean, every time my kid brings me a dead bug and she's like, I want to look at it on her scope. I'm like, well, I mean, we can look at its wing. I can pluck its wing off and put it in there, but like, what else I can't. Yeah, I can't smash its head down. It's not gonna look cool. We can do a leg. We can do a wing. That's what you get.
I got one of these USB ones, like this thing that like it's okay.
Oh yeah.
It's like just
I bought one of them and returned it. I wasn't happy.
It's a kind of garbage, but that's why it's still in the box. I took it out and used it like once, and I was like,
Return
that
it.
sucks.
Return it.
Yeah.
All right. So have you had this one? I have not. And I can get into why I think it might not be quite as common. Sclerotium rolfsi. Is that what?
This would be you. I know how to say this is Rolfsii because
Rolfsii. Oh yeah, Rolfsii. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Rolf was a guy's name. I don't remember.
Okay.
What he
like
did.
Aleni. Okay.
Yeah, Rolf.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right.
Yep,
So
Rolf.
Southern Blight, and I actually got that's actually a micrograph of what it looks like. A white mold turns dull yellow to tan with maturity. Hold on, guys. I might have not updated that from a previous slide. So ignore that. Profuse rapid production of cottony aerial mycelium. Yes. So you actually see the Southern Blight on vegetable crops, different kind of plants. It'll grow at the base of the stem. And it's just like a cottony, webby kind of looking growth. But when you get it in, here, let me pull this up. When you get it, I could not find a good video or all the images on the internet were for like agriculture. It wasn't for mushrooms. I found one video. It was an Indian lady that I don't know at all what she's saying. So let me This isn't so much for the audio as it is the video. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. Let me pull that down. Share screen. Here we go. Okay.
Scary, the control measures. Like I'm looking for the ethic.
So this breeds a sclerotia. Those little dots, those little brown dots there. Now, on the vegetation, I didn't see that so much, but it says it's soil borne. There's a good image of it.
I have seen this on plates back in when I was doing a plant pathology course. I was getting soil samples, and this one would grow after a couple months. It would grow on the plate. You would see little black knobby kind of things.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I'm pretty sure it was this. Yeah, I've never seen it since then, though. I wonder why they call it southern blight. That was when I was in Tennessee.
There you
and
go.
I was getting. It could be just be literal a reference to the maybe because it's warmer or something. But yeah, I isolated this quite a few times on plates. I've never seen it in a cube grow.
Yeah, but so here's one of the things that it was saying. This showed up again. This is one of those where you're consulting major fungal contaminants papers, and of course, primarily they're looking at commercial crops. So it said here, where was it here? Substrate-borne fungal contaminant found on unfermented rice straw. So,
back. Yeah, and it said the temperature down there 80 to 87.
So yeah, it likes that hot. It likes straw. It's soil-borne. So this is probably not super common for most cube growers. But, there are a few people in the community that use straw that, are growing more than just cubes. So I thought it would be worth, lightly touching on. And it makes the sclerotia. That's kind of.
Oh, that's what Dave. I don't know his name, Dave ish. And he sent me something about humic acid and straw in the paddy straw production. He said that humic acid prevented some of the. I just real quickly went through the paper. And it was about this humic acid preventing pathogens in soil-borne, like straw substrate.
Cool. Yeah, I know Dr. Mike, the guy John uses, has been playing around with humic acid as well for those reasons, just to inhibit, other stuff. So that's interesting. What was the paper? Who sent you that paper? What was it?
He's got a couple different. I'm going to pull it up right now. I had so many damn windows, I had to close some of them. The paper is. I'll just copy the link. It's effective humic acid on Pleurotus ostriatus mushroom cultivation, and it's See, I'll copy it and paste it into the. It was basically. I thought it was about paddy straw mushrooms.
Yeah, this is saying unfermented rice straw. So yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, Pat. Yeah, I'll just copy the link and let people figure it out if they're interested. I get so inundated on a daily basis. I end up with 30 windows, and at some point, I just got to start closing them.
Yo, you're like my wife. She's never closed a window a day in her life. I get to her computer, I sit down to start closing windows, and 4 days later, I'm like, okay, I give up. I can't do this. Yeah. So this one showed up. I just thought it was hilarious. I have never had this. This has got to be a button mushroom problem. Have you guys ever accidentally grown inky caps in your grows? I have not.
I thought I would never see one until when you put substrate outside. That's where if you have a compost pile, you'll see it. They'll creep in it's usually not. That's I believe that's a shaggy mane. It's usually the one. It's disseminatus, the tiny one, or plecatillus. They're actually coprinellus or coprinopsis, I guess now. So if you could get shaggy manes, that would be cool because you could eat them.
I had to use a cool picture, dude.
Oh, I love shaggy manes, man. Battered and deep fried are fucking some of the best mushrooms I've ever had. But you got to eat them within 12 hours.
Yeah,
I forgot.
There's a guy that grows them in bags. He sells the culture on Etsy, and I was just seeing some beautiful fruit. So I was like, man, maybe give this a try. This might be fun. And then you can harvest it at the perfect time.
Mm. Yeah, if you could do it like passively, like in your backyard or in your compost or whatever.
That'd be
Don't
cool.
start like I wouldn't be digging out roses and shit to plant them, but
no.
There you go. Your wife will love that. Like, honey, I had to make room for these inky caps. I'm sorry, your fucking daffodils, they had to go.
Gone. Oh man, around here it's
your
nothing
tulips,
but daffodils.
Your daffodils.
As far as the eye can see, dude. Oh my god.
I know. Dude, the most pissed my mom ever got one time, her fucking daffodils were coming out and I accidentally chopped them off as they were just about
you
to
heathen.
Dude, she was like not happy about that. I had to go. That's when I turned into gardener. I'm like, I got to make up for this shit. Like, I cut off 2 fucking daffodils, and now I got to make a goddamn garden every springtime for my mom.
Wow.
I felt so bad about it. It was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, doesn't the neighbors got like a fucking 100 of them? Can't you just go look at them?
Nope. You ruined hers, dude. You ruined hers. How dare you?
I know.
How dare you?
Shit. The tulips, oh my God, she'd bring in her tulips and put them down in the basement in the winter. And, that was always a big thing.
Well, you weren't too far away from Holland. You guys should have had cheap tulips.
See, that's funny. Here I'm mocking my mother. Oh, yeah, that fucking dumb bitch saved tulip balls. Meanwhile, I've got 800 plates of fucking mold in my front
you're
room.
normal. Yeah, you're
she
normal.
Was weird. Yeah. She had all these mason jars with lids on tables and shelves, and what a weirdo.
She canned food to eat later.
I know.
What a weirdo.
Now I got like 300 of these in my fucking kitchen, but no food.
Yeah.
With a pellicle of like God knows what growing in them, and it's like, God. That silly woman. I can't believe you.
Our family, so much, so much there, so much history.
She was feeding me. She used to love that. That's why I had so many mason jars when I started doing like the BRF techs and all that shit. It's like, oh wow. Like, she canned a lot of stuff when I was really little, and then, it just got tedious. And so I'm like, wow, I have all this stuff for like making grain spawn in my basement. Right. And it's like, this is pretty convenient. I don't think she used polypropylene bags for anything, but
well, at least she could sleep good at night knowing she wasn't ruining the earth. It's good.
Oh, I know. When she had hundreds of them, and there was so much crap, and I was like, Ma, can we throw some of these away? And she was like, it was a deeply emotional thing for her, You know how people used to save jars, like the mayonnaise jar. Like, you didn't throw away glass jars. Like, our parents grew up.
What are you going to put your extra bolts in, Ed? Where are you going to put your nuts in, your screws, your nails?
Exactly.
Every single nail was saved as if a blacksmith forged it by hand for him. I know.
And what about the bread ties? I mean, for fuck's sake, we need bread ties. And I remember my mom being pissed off when they started making those plastic clips for the bread. Like, these things, I can't use these for anything.
Yeah.
It's like, these are useless. Meanwhile, we've got like 4 pounds of bread ties, twisty ties. It's like, can we do like art projects or something with them? Like make fucking macrame or whatever that shit's called?
Nope. Can't do anything with them. Nothing.
But no, they were like post-World War II,
Yeah. Oh, I know, man. Shit. Saved everything. Saved every scrap of everything. My dad, anything that came with a protective film on it, he wouldn't want to take the protective film off.
Dude,
so like electronics yes. See,
dude, my lapel, I just peeled off the shit from my lapel mic. Like,
and you feel like it's gonna make you go to hell when you do it. I know. Yeah. Like it was a mistake. Like you regret it the minute you do it.
There's no going back at that point. It's like it's like, God,
yes.
I don't know. Something's happened.
All right.
The world, different place. Ow.
You mentioned it, pink mold. Now, I could also not find that much about this one, but it's where like a class of antibiotics come from, cephalosporins.
Yeah,
So I thought that was interesting. And I imagine probably if you get it, the mushrooms don't like it. And this definitely seemed like a more commercial thing, but I thought it was interesting that oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me go back. I did a fairly yeah, okay, that's new. My bad. So it says that it's found in the bottom layers of the tunnels in bulk pasteurization and conditioning methods. Yellow, brown, corky mycelium, blah blah blah, strong metallic smell. I have not had this one. I have not seen this one. But again, I thought we'd talk about it in the event that you had a thought on it. I love the one where you're like, oh my god, this is what stalls your grows out, because the hypomycetes of it all. But yeah, this one I didn't have a lot of photos for it. I didn't know anything, but I wanted to make a cute pink slide so we could maybe talk about it. But
I'm not familiar. I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
okay.
lipstick mold. Like I know lipstick mold. I don't
Yep.
know pink mold.
That's the next one. We'll talk about lipstick mold in a future contaminant to be continued cliffhanger episode. So yeah, I didn't do that one. Lipstick mold, I've noticed if somebody has it, you're gonna have it for a long time. It's just gonna keep rearing its ugly head. You're gonna have to get real methodical about your sterilization and all that stuff. I've never had it. I have had people send me stuff that had it when it arrived, and that shit never got open and got immediately tossed in the garbage. So I have never actively had lipstick mold.
Yeah, before we move on, I think at some point, maybe not me, but maybe somebody like Dr. Mike will have to talk about control of these things.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at these papers and they're talking about like in the commercial agaricus, like this paper is like cephalospecium disease and nematodes and predation by nematodes and all these chemicals like banamil, these scary chemicals.
Oh, they use chemicals. The big guys. Oh, for sure.
Fuck.
That paper you sent me, it
them.
was all about here's what chemical or chemical blend you use for all of them. Yeah, they're not gonna lose these fruit, dude. No, they want these fruit to work.
Oh yeah, the one that seemed like it had a lot of Indian references in it. Mushroom diseases and their management. Yeah.
And their management, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's all about like it tells you what it is and then it just goes on to what chemical to use to kill it.
Yep. Now that we briefly mentioned it, we helped you figure out if you got it. Here's what you really want to know, guys. Here's the toxic chemical to spray all over everything.
Here you go, dude. Wet bubble disease, the one I got open, it says, compost control, bed sterilized with 2% formalin. Spray dithan Z78 at 0.2% and benlate at 0.05%. None of that shit sounds good.
So only like 3 chemicals I never heard of.
Yeah, just 3 chemicals. Yeah.
Sweet.
Probably that you can't use for any other food, but they're okay for mushrooms.
Right.
Because
of some special law or whatever.
Like a loophole. They're probably considered organic. Like literally some of those chemicals, like people think organic food is like means no chemicals. Wrong. Right. If you go and look for the USDA, whatever, like rules for organic labeling, there's a shitload of chemicals that you can use. And it'll say whereas like when it's like subjectively necessary to improve yield and or appearance, these chemicals are okay in limited quantities. And then it lists like 50 chemicals. Formalin, methanol, like peroxyacetic acid, hydrogen peroxide. And you're like, yeah, these kind of sound like chemicals. They are.
Yep, they're chemicals. But no one reads that, so everybody gets away with it.
And you don't have to list them like on a mushroom packaging. I'm sure they're if you used like 2% formalin on the bed because it's not in the you're just sterilizing the substrate. You don't have to list that. It's not
Yeah, who cares, guys? Too big
meth,
deal.
methyl bromide used to inoculate or to annihilate the whole
There you
cornfield
go.
before you.
Michael Mamas looked it up. Formalin is just formaldehyde in water. That's all it is, Ed.
Yeah, that's all.
Just
It's simple.
formaldehyde.
The same shit they pickle bodies with. Like,
No
it's
big
all
deal.
good, man.
It's all good.
That's why you get poison from drinking methanol or wood alcohol. It's
All good.
fine. It's all
Who
good.
cares?
Don't
Just a
worry.
little bit's not gonna
I'm
kill you, Ed.
I'm sure the government got it all under control. They would never do anything
Raw
to harm the
stuff.
population.
Don't worry about it. You'll
They
be
don't.
fine.
Oh,
Yes.
trust the man. This reminds me of some Dead Kennedy songs. It's like, yeah, just trust the government.
Trust.
It'll be fine. The government flew. Yeah, that was a
Yep.
song. You probably know
Yep.
the DK
Yeah.
song. Dead Kennedys, not Dichotomous
Yeah.
Keys. Dead
Yeah.
Kennedys, the
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
That's
Speaking
why I
of
like
that,
calling him DK because
my daughter just had a little segment on dichotomous keys and she failed it, and I said she didn't fail it, but she didn't get a good grade. In my brain, that just means fail. You don't get an
wait,
A, it's fail.
in her class.
In her class,
Or
she failed a quiz on it. She got like a D+ on it, and I was like,
on dichotomy. Oh, what class is that?
how? Science class.
Oh, really?
You learned about dichotomous keys. Dude, I don't know if you've looked into this. I am not a big fan of some of the decisions they're making and how they're educating kids. It's pretty messed up. My kid just aced like a huge practice test of like 60 questions, got all the questions right. But the teacher went just meticulously through the whole thing and was correcting every little spot where she didn't show the work the way that she wanted her to. I'm sitting here going, homegirl got every answer right. Did you run out of gold stars? What's going on here?
Yeah, I've been involved
Like,
in the
come on.
education system
You
for
know,
like
you already
25
know.
years.
You
Dude,
already-
that's why I purposely,
Yeah.
if you probably have noticed, like in the last 6 months, I've probably been much happier. It's because I
Yeah.
got myself out of that system.
Yep. Yep.
It's like all fucked up. That could be
Yeah.
14 other episodes, as well as like 26 PhDs.
That's 40 PhDs and 3 YouTube channels right there, guys.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. And probably, what's
Uh,
fucked up with the Western education, dude? It's the same
Yeah.
here though. They don't know what
I'm
to
sure.
do after COVID and online, and like now people are like,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't need to learn anymore because we have AI. It's like,
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's not do bacterial and viral tonight. We're almost at 2.5 hours. A lot of people have been talking, so let's just try to give some general ideas around some of these other topics. Let me pull them up here.
Yeah, that's a better idea.
All right. So
Yeah,
you left some notes. What did you mean by ingredient sourcing?
Oh, I was thinking about like where you get your coir from primarily. A lot of like 2-3 people this week have inquired about like, I can't get brick coir in my country. And like, is it okay to use substitutes or analogs or whatever you want to call them? And I was thinking like, if you can't get good coir, maybe go to the boiling method like I do. Instead of doing bucket tech, go a little more extreme, and more extreme, you can sterilize it.
I go extreme, dude, and I don't even hardly know what contamination is. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Man. People got to remember too, this whole process is going to take you like months, like 4 weeks at least. Like,
I'm not trying to waste any time.
It's you screw yourself, you shoot yourself in the foot. You do all this shit to make your spawn and spend all this money, and then you can't wait another hour while your substrate boils, or
I know.
put it in a bag, put it in a goddamn like leftover 7-Eleven bag, and just get it into a pressure cooker or something, a microwave, man, you can microwave it. Like if you've got like bucket tech shit that's laying around and you're just doing a small amount, throw it in a bag, any kind of bag or a Tupperware, and microwave that shit.
Right.
Like microwaves work really, really well for sterilizing stuff.
Yeah.
Like they get hot as fuck, and like that's just one other little step.
Yeah.
I used to do too, like my pan. I got some pan that probably after this I'll go bag it up and sterilize it because it'll last longer and it's got poo in it. But if you've got substrate and you're not going to get around to use it, throw it in the freezer. Like if you've got room, you can put it in the freezer. So instead of letting it sit there in the bucket tech for months, weeks, months, like put it in a bag and throw it in the freezer. I'm sure you got some extra 7-Eleven or garbage.
Yeah, and I got lots of free space in my freezer.
And bread ties. Use all those old bread ties.
There we go. Oh, the callback. We got callbacks tonight. I love it. Yes.
Oh, the chip clips and bread ties. You know, before you had a 5mm fucking impulse sealer, you fucking rich ISO motherfuckers. go get a goddamn bread tie out of the junk drawer. It's
the junk drawer. Yeah.
Sort through the keys for locks you no longer own.
Yep. The markers with no cap.
The bread tie. Yes, exactly.
The pens that had like that much ink left in them.
Yeah, or the ones that are leaking and you just like, I could probably still write with that.
And then the one in the very bottom where the ink leaked out and then it hardened and now you can't actually get it out of anymore.
Yeah, don't forget that little tiny screwdriver that's rusty that's going to give you tetanus when it fucking stabs you in the side of the hand while you're sorting through the drawer. Now it's probably fucking needles. You know, your last LC that you used and you're like, I still got like a milliliter in it, and you throw it in the junk drawer. Be careful of that.
Yeah, why not? What could happen? What's the worst that could happen?
See, I'm joking about this. Like, yeah, that sounds so far-fetched, but literally I have a pile of syringes on a rusty shelf over there in old Martha tent. God,
it's true.
So weird.
Being raised by someone that actually lived through the Holocaust, through the Great Depression. I mean, yes, living with someone who lived through the Holocaust would also probably be an interesting experience. But someone who lived through the Great Depression just got some major trauma, major PTSD. It definitely affected their behavior. That is for sure. My dad was raised by straight up. Yep. 100%.
I think even it maybe takes a generation or two to go away.
Oh yeah, several.
So now sound like your kids and well, my kids that I don't know what they're doing, but anyway, that's beside the point. They just throw shit away, you know, like I bought a new phone. It's like, look, I got an A52 and an A55. Like, this is garbage. This is garbage. Literal garbage. I don't need this. They wouldn't even take it back at the shop, dude. I was like, oh, like the Wi-Fi is fucked up, and they were like, yeah, we don't need it, and they
don't want it.
They gave me $10 off my new one though.
Yeah, they do it to make you feel good. They pretend like they're gonna recycle it. It's like our recycling. You know, it doesn't actually get recycled most of the time.
I think that's it, dude. The guy gave me a discount, like he looked like he wanted to make me feel better or something.
Just want to make you feel
better. Because I was
better.
just like, can you take it? Like, you've already transferred all the data. I don't need this. And he was just like, And then he just minus $10 from the price.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't. So that's like, I got it now. I got to use that $10 so I don't feel guilty. Like, I got to use that $10 to recycle this fucking thing.
Yep.
Like, it's your job, man. This is your job. Take it.
Yep. They're good at figuring out how to make us worry about all the wrong things. That's for sure. Crying about this.
You know, like a deposit or something. You know, like 10-cent cans in Michigan. Yeah. Do they still have that?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, okay.
People still in the back of Meijer right now, dude, putting them in the little. Doing that. Yeah. Making you sort them for no reason.
Dude, when they used to have races at MIS, you know, in Brooklyn, holy shit, dude. These guys would come in on like Monday with like fucking they had to limit them to $500 on it. They would come and fill up one of the machines.
Yep.
And I had to work back there in the back, you know, the back of the machine and like empty in the. That's like, oh my God, you smell like beer and rancid Coke, you know. With
the smell in the back of a Meijer, back in the pop.
Fucking chaw, like, dude. You know, people been spitting in their fucking can or bottle, and you're like, this is like, dude, I think this is worse than like miners in fucking Zimbabwe, goddamn sapphire mine, and
fucking. It's probably not worse, but it's
maybe not.
It's the white version worse, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Definitely
like
not work.
well, the middle class white version of being a like ruby miner in Zimbabwe or something.
All right,
Uh,
I'm looking at all these here. Let's get through these here.
oh yeah,
Hold
I
on,
could
hold
just
on.
those were like things that probably could be turned into like a half hour
Yeah, so
session.
we can lightly touch on them. So basically, ingredient sourcing. So there are cocoa core products that are marketed for cannabis grows, and some of them it has
Mm,
to be stated on the
okay.
packaging, but some of them are actually amended with trichoderma literally in them. So you definitely want to make sure you're not buying those. If you're
Yeah.
pasteurizing, you want to actually pasteurize. If you don't give a crap and you're just gonna, completely John Wayne that shit, that's fine. Go for it. You do whatever you want to do. I sterilize. I do that because, like Ed said, man, by the time I squeeze them little balls out and and spawn to bulk, I do not want it to go wrong. I put in a bunch of work.
Mm,
I want it to work out. It doesn't mean
yeah,
anything for me
exactly.
to fill that presto up with a bunch of substrate and just cook it for 3 hours. And
Mhm.
then I know there is nothing alive inside there at all. Nothing. That's
Yeah.
how I roll now.
It's reassure. It's like an insurance policy. It's
Just yep.
eliminating one variable that you don't need to worry. Like,
Yep, exactly. And for me, when I was using the MPG Plus and I wasn't doing that, I would maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 bags wouldn't make it to the first flush. It would contam on me leading up to it. And but most bags, so yeah, 10%, right? If it was 1 in 10 or 1 in 20, the cakes that made it, which was still most cakes, were bulletproof. I swear to God, I could have wiped my ass with those cakes. Like nothing could infect them. They were so resistant to contamination. But I went back to Dr. Mike. I said, yo, what do I got to do to get rid of this? 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 bags goes bad on me before I get to the first flush, before it fully colonizes. And he said, well, are you sterilizing your bags? I said, no, why the hell would I do that? That makes no sense. And he said, well,
well,
you're putting bacteria into your grow. So you don't just have fungus, have fungus plus other microbes, and the metabolic activity is higher. There's more going on. And in that process, you don't want there to be any other contamination other
mhm,
than the microbes that I'm telling you to put in there. I made that change.
mhm.
Never, ever, ever since had trichoderma in any grow ever. It's been well over a year. So I sterilize. You don't got to if it's working out for you, right? I get people all the time. I don't do that. I don't have a problem. Great. I didn't tell you to use it. Do
Yeah.
whatever you want to do.
I don't know. Here's your gold star.
Yeah, great.
I don't
Cool.
know. But that's the thing. Those kind of people. I mean, I don't try to like curse anybody, but it's like when you do have a problem, it'll probably be a huge fucking problem because it won't be 1 out of 10 like you. It'll be like 100%.
Yeah.
Like when your
Oh, yeah.
shit starts to go bad, something comes in, like maybe you change your core source, or maybe you tap water, maybe the municipal water supply puts a little more like calcium in there,
Right.
or like does something at the tap, and you don't know about it, and then things. It's like
Yep.
just like changing positions or locations of your farm. You're also changing the tap water source and the ambient temperature and the environment and all these the daily cycles of temperature and RH, and all these things. And you just like you're like it's going fine. No, people always want to do that. It's like almost like the reverse of a dick swinging contest. It's like look how lazy I am.
Right.
Like, look, I'm a
Yeah.
lazy fucking cunt. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like this is how minimal amount of work, and it's like they're bragging
Right.
about it. And I'm like,
They are,
I don't
sure,
know.
yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be bragging about that. It's like people who like do well
Well,
on a math test, and they're like, I cheated. You know what? I cheated on that test. That's how I got 100%. And it's like you shouldn't be bragging about that.
Right.
Like that's not something to brag about. Like, wow, you managed to manipulate the system, and then you didn't learn anything.
And now you're proud of that.
Thing. Yeah, you shouldn't be proud of that.
What are you gonna do? Yeah,
People are proud of like how many prison tats they got. Like, look, I got like 14 prison tats. I spent most of my life incarcerated.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I don't know if you should be proud of that, but I guess so.
Yeah. So another thing, so you did this note on preparing the workspace and personal hygiene. I always talk to people when they talk about having an outbreak, and I get real specific and I start talking to them about, so do you mop your floor once a week? How often do you sanitize all your workspaces? How often do you do this? How often do you take a shower, relatively close to the time you start doing this work? Do you pull your hair back? Do you wear a mask? Do you wear gloves? Do you do any of those things? No. Okay. So just try doing those things. Like, you have to make a change. If you're having too much contamination, it's blowing around in the air, or you're touching it. It's touching something, or it's latently in the products you're using. And there are bona fide methods for handling all those situations. So you just got to do more. Like Ed said, you can't be proud of how little you're doing and getting away with it. If you start having problems, then you got to do more.
Yeah. And also along that, also like speaking of substrate, don't try to isolate your grain from your coir, from your plates, and from your grow. If you can, if you have the space, like I keep my grain in my front yard, and I keep my coir in my kitchen, and my like laminar flow or my FFU and my grow room are unfortunately somewhere in the middle of all that shit. But like, if you can, like, don't bring also, if you're growing plants, don't mix your weed stuff with your mushroom stuff. Like, I know I tried to helping a guy about 2 years ago, and I went to his house because he was the same deal. Like, I've been trying to do this and it's not working. And I walked into his front yard, and like all of his front yard was like old drip, like how, drip irrigation things, like this little knobby things, and like old like tarps and shit. And then he's like, I just immediately was like, yeah, this is an uphill battle. Like, dude, you've got mushroom. Like, I took him some like all-in-one bags. I just basically mixed a bag and like a unicorn bag. Took him a mono tub. I'm like, there's no way this is like, you'll be able to do this. It's like a bag inside a mono tub. And it was like, and then I went back like a week later, and he had it in his room. It was like, grandma, like the old room with like the china cabinet and like a half-inch of dust. And it's like, dude, this is never, ever going to work. Like, you can't. Like, I don't know. There's something about plant people. They're quite proud of like how like dirty they are sometimes. Like a sign of like when like plant growers have like dirt under their fingernails. That's like a badge of honor. Like, look how dirty my fingernails are. Like, I haven't washed my hands in nearly a week. And then you see them holding like a plate with no glove on. And it's like, oh, I'm glad it works for you, dude. But if
that's the guy who's going to get some of these things we just talked about that half of us have never seen.
Probably, yes. Maybe a slime mold. But that would be like if you were if you went to work and you walked in and some patient saw fucking dirt under your fingernails.
Done.
Not gonna fly, right?
Nope, not gonna fly.
I don't know why people this.
I gotta show this. So for sterile technique, and this is something that's beaten into you in nursing school, or if you become a doctor or just work in healthcare, you start learning about sterility and sterile field and all that kind of stuff. I think my buddy Mass Mofo just said it the best. Just try not to touch nothing. That is exactly the fucking mentality you need to have. You need to imagine that your hands are covered in paint and every fucking thing you touch is nasty. You have to assume that you're the dirtiest motherfucker on the planet. And so don't touch nothing. 100%, dude. That's if you start adjusting your tech to go, okay, I've assessed how much I'm touching the different things in my field. Is there a way I can do it and touch less things? Do that. Touch less things for sure.
Like it's literally do not pick up a pen and write something down with
my
a
God,
gloved
no.
hand.
Yes.
Do not pick up. Dude, I
Yep.
see people doing fucking
All the time.
podcast videos. Or YouTube videos, and they're writing shit down. I'm like, you dumb motherfucker. And you're making a YouTube video showing how to people to do sterile technique.
Right.
I saw a guy yesterday. He had a goddamn hat with his dreads hanging out and some fucking North Face like hoodie on. And he's like, this is how I do like sterile technique. And he's got this like wool parka shit on. And I'm like, what the fuck? Dude,
take a shower. Bro, I met a guy, one of my buddies I've been talking to online. I finally got to meet him this summer. And he was telling Alan Rockefeller a story about how when he goes to do lab work, he takes a shower, scrubs his body with a loofah, and then works entirely naked the entire time.
Dude, you know the worst thing about me for making damn lives in front of my FFU? I got to put my pants and a shirt on because I got to have somewhere to hang this fucking lapel mic.
Yeah.
I 95% of the time am sitting in my underwear in front of my FFU. That's how I do it. I don't take a shower because I mean, I shower every day, but like I just, dude, you got to, before I forget, you got to track down that shit you sent me one time on IG with that guy doing liquid culture in front of like the box fan. And
my God.
I almost shit my pants. I was describing that yesterday.
How are we going to find that?
Yes, I was on IG. It must have been on IG, but it was like one of those disappearing videos or something.
I mean, on one level, it was miraculous because I feel like he said it with so much confidence that it had to work more than not. But wow, I mean, he was just opening up his liquid culture, throwing the lid back there. Then you just do. I'm like, how is this working for you?
You know what's funny? I bet it's like, see, when we see a video of like 1940s, like doctors smoking Camel cigarettes in like the operating room, they're like, well, nurse, can you get me the scalpel?
No big deal.
Now it'd be like
ashing in an open abdomen.
Exactly. Like, here's the body part that I just cut off, and there's my ashtray. I'll put some of this brown iodine shit on my hands. That'll kill everything.
Yeah.
Some fucking, what was that crazy shit they used to use for? Oh, some formaldehyde. Yeah, let me just spray my hair.
Yeah, there we go.
Formalin.
Yeah. And kill a couple fungal contaminants while you're at it. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. And so, yes, Kurt, you're right. So we obviously didn't get through everything. So we'll do another one of these here. Probably not next week. I got a couple things scheduled in the next couple weeks, but we'll get another one in here shortly. But yeah, so Kurt B makes a great point. Bacteria travels through contact. Very few and endospores. Yeah. Very few of them have flagella. Very few of them are motile. That's why, for example, that trenching technique works. Yeah. Now there are some things that hitch a ride and seem to persist. I would love to figure out what those things are, but for the most part, that trenching method works really great. What were you saying?
I'm scared viruses is going to be the next thing we're going to have to contend with.
Virus, yeah.
Like back to that tubs that like stall out. It's like, ooh, and people have been asking me about like heat shock proteins. If you look up like literally 2 or 3 degree temperature changes in like E. coli, they will change elements on. They like like a switch that's like connected. It's like an equalizer board, you know, that one master fucking knob that turns on all the other equalizer fucking things.
Yeah.
Yeah, soundboard or whatever.
Bro, and then you're sitting here worrying about viruses. And then prions come along, and then it's just never ends, man.
Yeah. Stop.
I mean, but some of this,
Thailand, you know, I got it. Viruses are very rare. You know, I live in Thailand. Like viruses, it's a common topic.
when you can't see it, and you can't smell it, and you can't isolate it, could definitely be a virus.
Like Insidious, or like Insidious. That was a scary fucking movie, dude. I literally almost shit my pants that first time I saw that movie.
I'm glad you didn't.
I thought it was gonna have a fucking heart heart attack. I hate those people. I literally walked out of that movie like, I hate you people.
Wow.
Don't ever do that to me again.
I
Like
love
I
those
almost
kind of
had a
movies.
heart. I do now, but the first time I wasn't used to that genre of like that fucking shit. I was like, oh my God, you motherfuckers. I don't want to die. Like I literally almost just had a heart attack, a mini heart attack.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the scariest movie I ever saw in my entire life was The Wizard of Oz. Them little monkeys, dude. Them little flying monkeys freak me out, dude. I love monkeys and I love birds. I do not like flying monkeys. They just creep me out.
Yeah,
and you know they were all the little people that played the Munchkins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really worked. They got them. They were like, you know what? We're gonna hire you guys, but you're gonna do two things for us. You're gonna dress up in.
You might have some suppressed trauma, dude. I had a girl, a babysitter that we had a fucking parrot, a stuffed parrot on the porch. And when I was bad, meaning she wanted to use the phone and talk to her boyfriend or whatever, she would lock me out on the front porch in the middle of winter, and it was cold as fuck. And there was this parrot that I don't know why it was out there, but she would like torment me with it through the window. And to this day, when I see like peacocks and shit, I like have like a trigger. It like freaks me out when I see like birds, like macaws, and I don't know why. And then I finally, like a year or two ago, put it all together. Like, oh, this is why I'm deathly afraid of birds. Like, even if they're in cages and shit, I'm like, get that fucking thing away from me. Like, because of this girl who tormented me when I was like 13.
Babysitters, don't trust them. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Well, I was like 7 or 8. She was like 13. Yeah, don't trust them. Exactly. Get one of those nanny cam things.
There you go.
Dude, you'll see those ones where like, I don't know, maybe here in Asia, there'll be like some maid who's just like throwing the babies.
Yep.
Like
they catch them doing that here too, for sure, man. They catch them doing all that stuff.
Just shaking the baby.
People just don't. I mean, look, you got to take a test to drive a car, but you don't got to take a test to have a baby.
Yeah, dude, you know about like here in Asia, man. I'm like you're saying, dude. I don't know. I'm way better qualified to take care of kids than a 16-year-old girl, by far.
Yeah,
like I could take care of 4 kids better than I've seen some 16-year-old girls. I'm like that. You like you said,
they're kids.
You should have
kid taking care of kids. Yeah.
They don't.
And hopefully a 16-year-old doesn't already have 4 kids. Hopefully she only got 1
dude,
kid.
The Philippines. I've been watching these videos about the Philippines, dude. These 55, 60-year-old guys go there and marry like a 23-year-old, and they're like warning you like what to expect. And they're like, be careful, she's probably married already and has probably 2 to 3 children. Wow. Like this girl.
I mean, but in her 20s, okay, I know people like that though.
But it's like so common. It's like they're just like, be ready for this. Like she's been married before, and she probably has several like.
Be ready! You're about to marry a 3 times divorcee from Philippines who is 22 years old.
Yes, you're about to inherit 4 kids that you're now going to raise and take care of that have no genetic relationship to you and speak a different language.
Lucky you. Yep, not my son.
Okay, I hope it's
on the note of Filipino underage brides. We're done. We did it. We made it. I got to go to bed. I got to get up so early for these kids, man.
Speaking of kids.
So early. This was good. I think this, we got into a little bit. We talked about a few things. At the end of the day, cleanliness is next to godliness, right? Like you just can't spray enough Lysol, use enough ISO. If you really want to, go pro, buy a hypochloric acid generator. It's real safe. You can spray it on anything. You can literally spray it on your fruit. It's safe. You got lots of options.
I'm gonna start using formalin now. Michael Mamas, it's gonna be your fault. You didn't Kurt. Now I'm gonna
Ed's gonna buy formalin on Alibaba. He's gonna get a 55-gallon drum of formalin now.
Oh, dude, you just buy that shit at the pharmacy here. They don't give a fuck.
You're like, where's your formalin? Or formula's right over here. No,
Aisle 6.
formulin.
Yeah, next to the vitamin C.
It's by the formula. The formula, and we just put it by the formula too. Yeah, just like the condoms are next to the
Alphabetical
bananas.
order.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Alphabetical. Man. Bananas, condoms,
There you
formalin.
go. Formula. There we go. All right, we did a little tie-in again there at the end. That was
I
great.
know. This is some intellectually stimulating things we do here, man. It's
Oh
important
yes,
stuff.
100%.
I've got like a whole list of things I'm thinking about now. Oh,
Good.
but before I forget, maybe one of these bring in like a real noob grower, like an actual dude who's maybe only grown like a couple tubs or something. I've been thinking about doing that on my little live stream things, but I'm scared of what they might ask, and I might not be able to answer it. I'm like,
yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Bring them in, get one of them spotlights, put them under the spotlight. How do you grow? Tell me.
No. Did you cut your fingernails this week? When was the last? Let me see your fingernails.
Be honest. Did you even wear gloves?
Yeah, I have to get like a ruler. No.
Okay, you got a trichoderma outbreak. You have to do 50 backlashings.
That's it. Yeah, get all like
whatever they call
that. What do they call that? Yeah, what do they call the name
thing? That thing.
Stupidity?
I don't know. Stupidity.
Flocculation or something like that.
Flatulation. Flagellation. That sounds about right. Yep. Sounds right. All right, man. Yeah, well, we did it. I gotta go to bed. This is what we do. You guys don't know this, but frequently when Ed and I talk, or when we get done with the show, we then talk for another 2 hours afterwards, and I never get any sleep. So I gotta go to bed. Been trying to get over a little something here. I think I'm on the tail end of it, so I definitely gotta get some sleep. But we came in under 3 hours, which for Ed is these days is nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you guys
maybe I'll do a live stream after this.
Just do it right after. Yes, just stay up. Just you got to be like those. Do you know they have those cams where it's just like a pretty girl lives in a house, they got cameras everywhere, and people pay to watch her just exist. You could do that for the Myco, just like a peek into Ed's day.
Somebody did mention that.
Watch Ed hide his sex toys when his girlfriend comes over.
Did all this shit around the camera. You know, you guys probably don't know. Like when the camera does this, I'm like, oh shit.
No.
Like there's a pile of shit right there that y'all should not see.
Oh, there it is, guys. You gotta rewind it and pause it down.
Yeah, somebody will. Dude, somebody will.
Somebody will.
No, okay. It's just standard.
I'll send somebody some goodies if you can figure out what it is, guys. There it is.
Just
all right. Just whips and chains, the usual stuff. Classic mycologist bed.
Online stuff.
Yeah.
If you can buy it online, it can't be that bad, right?
Exactly. Yeah. All right, man. I will talk to you later. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We definitely, we got into it. We also got out of it and then back into it. And hopefully you guys were entertained and had a good time. If there's anything we haven't covered, obviously we didn't get into bacteria. We'll do that next time. But if there's any other little things you guys think of, just send me a message, leave a comment in the comment section, and we'll get it next time. All right, man. Thank you so much for stopping by, Ed. We'll do it again soon.
Okay, see you guys. Sleep well.
Right. See ya. All right, guys. Let me pop this off here. All right, man. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to us chop it up about contamination. Like I was saying in the beginning, you got just something, you're just trying to keep something alive, and it's the exact same conditions as a bunch of other stuff that also wants to be alive. And it's hiding in our grain, it's sometimes hiding in our substrates, it's floating around in the air, it's on our hands, it's just literally everywhere. So learning this process of achieving sterility on your physical self in your lab space, sterilizing the products that you use to cultivate. This is all part of the learning process. But even with that said, doesn't matter how good you get, how long you've been doing it, from time to time, it rears its ugly head. Happens to literally everybody. There's no grower on earth that doesn't deal with this. Even the pros, the Agaricus bisporus producers, these guys are dealing with this too. They're paying big money to have scientists figure out what chemicals to put on everything to stop it. But yeah, happens to the best of us. So don't be discouraged if you guys are new. I hope this gave you a little insight into things you can do to prevent it. And then if you get it and you're brand new and you've never seen that contamination, I do encourage you to isolate that tub or that bag and kind of just watch it, learn something, pay attention to it, see how it evolves, how it grows, the rate at which it grows, the color changes it goes through, all that stuff. That's all important. It's a learning lesson. And then once you've seen it, from that point on, you can just toss it. Just get rid of it. Get it out of the space. It is not worth hanging out with all that contamination. It's scary stuff. So anyway, let me find all my stuff here. Thanks for being here. Next week we got a guy, his name is Cougar. He builds some phenomenal flow hoods. He's been building them for a very long time. He runs a company called Phenomenal Fungi. He's a real cool guy. I met him in Mexico last year, and we're going to chit chat with him. And then the week after that, I got another special guest. Don't think I can let the cat out of the bag just yet on that one, but you guys will enjoy it. Until next week, go grow some mushrooms.